Round 2 of the 2016 iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series on RaceSpotTV, streaming live on iRacingLive, is coming up next.
And we are underway for 2016 as the cars storm themselves down into the center S for the first time. Are they all going to make it through turn number 1? No, we've got a big contact already, and that's Gregor Hutu involved in that one. There you can see the two red line cars coming together. Ollie Pakala is actually going to make it 3 red line cars hit there.
Hutu maybe felt or could feel that Alexei should have given him room.
De Jong leads right now by 1.2 seconds over Martin Kroenke. Joni Tamala is running himself in 3rd place. Sebastian Job in 4th.
So right now, Kroenke's got his work cut out for him. He has to break the toe that Joni Tamala is using right now.
Out front, the gap between Joni Tamala and Mitchell de Jong now, Rachel, is down to 1 second.
But Joni Tamala trying to make... Oh, he's made a wobble. Turn number 1, heading down to the center S's. Joni Tamala was trying to use the DRS there on Mitchell de Jong on the front straight.
Around the outside, and he should be able to take the lead here on lap 12 of the event.
Yeah, as he's going to go freezing past then. He doesn't even need to get to the braking zone of turn number 1. Joni Tamala will move himself then past Mitchell de Jong. There you can see Gregor Hutu. It's not been a good day for him. Look at that graphic. Down 24 places from where he qualified in today's event. Gregor Hutu is basically now trying to get as many positions up as he can, knowing that drop weeks could well be the difference maker in this season. Gregor Hutu is now up into P number 15, and he is showing himself to still be very fast. And actually now, Rachel, we're going to have to start talking about what if Gregor Hutu had actually made it through turn number 1 at the start of this event.
For Coanda Simsport right here, we know what's happened to Red Line. Their race is a bit of an abysmal, except for Ollie Pakala, who's up there. But right now, as Joni Tamala enters the pit lane, let's see if the same happens for Coanda. Let's see if they can revitalize their race. Kroenke right now, he might not pass Sebastian Job unless it's a miracle pit stop from the Coanda Simsport crew. But if he can get the fresh tires for the final stint, and maybe be a little bit faster than Sebastian come the end of the race, it may make that pass easier. So I see Kroenke's logic here. I think de Jong will certainly get a decent result, but 2 stops not the way to go. And they're starting to learn what's happening, you know, which drivers go on which strategies. You study that with tendencies. They watch the race after, do all that kind of stuff. We always forget how strong Pakala's race pace is, and you and I we always rant about this, how good Pakala is compared to his red line teammates. On the day, you know, he is a race winner before in this series, so right now fighting for a podium early on, he's thinking of finding a way past Kroenke and proving his worth to be the top of the 2 dominant teams, Redline and Coanda. It'll be up to Kroenke and Pakala to win that time.
Sebastian Job is having now the race of his career so far. 12.5 seconds to the race leader, but Rachel, we're all now looking backward in terms of who's going to get the final 2 podium spots in this event. Pakala with a great run once again.
Has a look up the inside here, and Kroenke gives him the space. Almost a spin for Martin Kroenke. He keeps it together, and Ollie Pakala into the top 3 here, Wills.
Gregor Hutu versus Martin van Luzenoord. They are pretty much going to be side by side as they head themselves. What a run here by Gregor Hutu. He's going to stay side by side once again, and they say that Gregor Hutu can't do passes. Well, he's just done 2 fantastic ones in the space of 2 laps. Gregor Hutu now up into P number 11. Here comes up the hill for the final time Joni Tamala, and who would have thought at the end of this event we'll be talking about iNext Racing winning this race, but Joni Tamala joined the list of drivers as an iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series winner with the fastest lap of the day to boot.
Welcome to round 2 of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series for the 2016 season. We're at the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit in Victoria, Australia. The 4.4 kilometre, 2.7 mile layout incorporates 12 turns, 7 of them to the left, 5 to the right, the clockwise layout, challenging the drivers for 69 laps of racing later today. A venue that's hosted MotoGP, V8 Supercars, and many other premier motorsport series. It's only a couple of hours drive from the Albert Park Street circuit in Melbourne that hosts the Formula 1 Grand Prix, which is going to be held in only a couple of weeks' time. Fast sweeping corners combined with a few slow hairpins in between. Traction and ERS management will be crucial today. There aren't many heavy braking zones out here in the circuit, so look for drivers managing that throughout the event. The excessive undulation and copious amounts of elevation changes to 28 meters from the lowest point to the top. Good afternoon, everybody. Johnny Simon in the commentary booth alongside Rachel Whiteford and Jake Sperry. Now, Rachel, one of the most surprising starts to the season at Interlagos. Thoroughly entertaining first race, but it was very scruffy too. I mean, you look at the likes of Yoni Tamala, who took his first career win. Can he keep up his good run of form here today at Phillip Island?
Well, good afternoon, Johnny. It's certainly been an interesting start to the season, as you just said. We couldn't have predicted what happened at Brazil. An amazing race. We had drama, we had elation, we had a first-time winner and some first-time podiums as well. But incredible race for everyone to be part of, and certainly one of my favourites we've had in the history of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. But this is a different track. This is a different set of circumstances, and people have worked out their problems. A few of the teams have had issues, they've resolved them. But for INX, it's got to be a very interesting and very powerful start to the season. Let's not forget that also one of the drivers, Jake Sturgios, won at Atlanta in the Peak Antifreeze Series powered by iRacing. So these guys are on top. They've got to be feeling great. Let's see if they can do it again.
Certainly so. We now enter qualifying with just over 6 minutes remaining. We're looking at Marin Cholak on board for the Orion Racing team. He made that switch from Iberica to Orion. So, Jake, I mean, for Marin Cholak right now, in this stage of qualifying, he's currently in P7. He's got a promising season ahead. He's a very quick driver. He's got lots of experience out racing in the real world. Here on the virtual environment, he's putting his skills to the test as Gregor Hutu tops the timesheets.
Oh yes, absolutely. And I feel that, well, Marin Cholak's going to bring all his experience to the party today. He has ran out of laps at the moment, so 8th at the moment is where he's going to stay. But looking at the start of lap now is Joni Tamala.
So Joni Tomala, who won the last race, one of the most surprising victories. He's wrapping around the final corner of the racetrack right now. This is a very difficult turn 12 here, Rachel, where a lot of drivers spoke about before this round losing the rear end of the car. But as Joni Tamala crosses the line, he begins this lap. So for Joni, I mean, there's essentially no pressure on him. He's won the first race. He wasn't expecting to be in this position. He's just going to have fun out here today, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely, and yeah, he's proved everything he needs to prove, but with a good start for INX Racing and the ability for them to actually make early points, I think he can't really afford to relax. He has got to push hard. They have got to get a good result here because it's an opportunity for them they've not had in a long time. It's what they really need, Johnny, and I think they really have to strive for that. The whole team had a great performance last time out as Jake Sturgis himself just moves up to P10 on the racetrack. They're in a good spot, and I'm looking forward to seeing some exciting things. Let's see if they capitalise on the advantage they have early on before the other teams can catch up with their setup options. But it's a big thing. This is a new car. We talked about that, and INX got there first. INX were the ones to work it out and really rinse the car for all it's worth. Huge difference we saw there at Interlagos. Will they still have that advantage? We know several teams have certainly gotten closer. DRS Commander Simsport in particular has certainly found out one of the problems they had last time out. They're a lot quicker.
Well, Joni Tomala crosses the line. It's only P5 for him. So currently the standings, as you can see, it's Gregor Hutu in P1 with a 1 minute 7.208. Mitchell de Jong currently in second with a 1 minute 7.305. So a 10th down on the 5-time world champion Gregor Hutu. And then behind him, it's Olli Pakala, Martin Kroenke, and of course, Joni Tomala in 5th position. Down the order though, Morgan Filio in 6th. Now, he's been very strong, Rachel, for that Radicals Online team. And we expecting more of him at Interlagos. Now, it wasn't the worst race, but it could have been better for Morgan.
Yeah, it certainly could, and well, sometimes things just don't work out for you. Remember last season, though, in particular, we had in this round Alexei Usiakala coming off the back of a win in the first round. He came here, screwed up his first lap, completely lost it at Siberia. Next lap out, comes out and takes pole. So huge advantage. But you just got to keep your head in the game. This track is a driver's track. You have got to have flow here. You've got to have a good performance. And it's all about keeping that rhythm. We'll see if he can do that.
Yeah, definitely so. So 2.5 minutes remaining in this session. I think all times have been set so far. Now, while we wait for a couple of drivers to maybe conclude their final laps here, I mean, Jake, embarrassingly in round 1, the 3 Team Redline drivers all collided at the first corner around the center S at Interlagos. Now, the positive note for them here is they have the pace to win. They were arguably the fastest team out there at Interlagos despite the incidents. You know, Gregor Hutu down the order, making his way up through the field and finishing just outside the top 10. So right now he essentially has pole position. Remember, there's 2 sessions involved in World Championship qualifying, so we'll combine those 2 sessions at the end. And I think Hutu, though, has really sealed this one for himself.
Well, Gregor Hutu's coming off the back of a poor finish for him after an incident on lap 1. You have to say that management probably would have said something to him and Usiakala and Olli Pakala as well, because it was a really good finish in the end from him, just charging up the field in the final few laps. Just looking now at Robin Friskops coming across the line right now. Let's see what time he comes across in. Well, he doesn't improve any further. He stays 11th.
Yeah, it seems that it's only the first lap that really counts right now. So Gregor Hutu tops the timesheets just in front of Mitchell de Jong and then his teammate Olli Pakala for Team Redline right there. So it's essentially Redline Coanda. And Rachel, this could be a pretty dominant event for the team. Unfortunately for round 1 winner Joni Tomala, Inex is down the order in P5.
Yeah, they are. We know they're normally a team that really benefits from lots of big straights, and well, there aren't many here at Phillip Island. In fact, we have really one that's going to work as a DRS zone. In fact, it's the only DRS zone. That is the front straight. These times, indicative of last year and before, but Isaac Price, he's up there in P9, so that's a big movement.
Yeah, definitely. So last year's pole time, a 1 minute 5.743 from Alexei Usiakala, who qualifies in the 7th position for the moment. But we look at the standings for qualifying, and it is Gregor Hutu in P1 with a 1 minute 7.208. Impressive time from the 5-time world champion in that number 66 Team Redline car. Behind him, it's Mitchell de Jong for Coanda SimSport. Then Olli Pakala from Team Redline shares that second row of the grid with Martin Kroenke in P4. Then it's Joni Tomala and Morga Filio on the 3rd row of the grid. Behind them, Alexei Usiakala 7th, Patrick Holtzman 8th, Isaac Price 9th, Paul Ulbrink 10th. Now the rest of the grid on your screen. Now remember, this will be combined with that second qualifying session. We'll see which split and who ends up in which grid spot. After this, you're watching the 2016 iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. Qualifying is all but wrapped up. Join us for post-qualifying coverage after this. Welcome back to post-qualifying coverage for the 2016 iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, round 2 from Phillip Island. As we said, qualifying all but wrapped up, but it's one man, Gregor Hutu, who takes pole position, the 5-time world champion proving his worth, and we follow him on board for his tour around the Australian circuit as he laps in a 1:07.208. A wonderful time from Gregor Hutu there. Now, Rachel, what a smooth lap from the 5-time world champion. I mean, it just seemed, apart from turn 4 where he missed the apex slightly at Honda corner, that the car seems so balanced and smooth. It's like clockwork.
Absolutely, Johnny. This is Hutu we love and, enjoy watching. Incredible smooth lap. A little bit of a wobble on turn 4's apex, but I think he was kind of just pushing it a little bit wider there, so he didn't perhaps compromise the next corner. In all, it's actually a pretty unremarkable lap by how smooth it was. But this is Gregor Hutu. Moves is fast, and he does do fast.
I'll tell you what as well, Riley Preston, who is currently P6 on the grid to start this race. Jake, at his home race, yes, we know it's a virtual environment, but you tend to practice more at your home tracks because it's essentially you love them more, you spend a lot of time around them at home. So right now for Riley, he's in a great position with a new team as well. Don't forget the Orion Racing team, which he joined towards the end of the Pro Series.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that Riley Preston being at his home race, be it that he doesn't have, say, the fans virtually watching him, but he has this ability just to click at certain tracks. And if Phillip Island's clicking for him today, well, you do have to say that Phillip Island is going to be a place where we're going to see a few more surprises. Not as many as we'd seen, like, say, for Interlagos, but still some really big results are going to be coming out today.
Now, don't forget, as we combine the grid, only 35 drivers, so the top 35 of the combined 2 sessions make the final grid for the race. Right now, we have Frederick Evers, who's missing the grid, Tomo Meglic, Marcus Hamilton, Rico Alatalo, Oscar Mangan, and one big name here, Rachel, is Pablo Lopez, who needed to fight back from his poor round 1 performance. He had that incident with Riley Preston, and there's a little bit of bad words and bad blood spoken between the two, but that's all right. They're all over it right now. But for Pablo Lopez, this isn't the best way to revitalize your championship.
Yeah, certainly not. And if I'm being brutally honest, Johnny, I'm not sure there's perhaps a championship in sight for him in his debut here in the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, but he could certainly get a number of good results. He's a fast driver, a very fast driver. He has a lot to learn this year, especially a lot of things he can pick up from these guys, and I think it will definitely broaden him as a driver. Is he going to get a win this year? Not sure, but he is a talented guy, and we've seen him involved in 1 or 2 wrecks in the past, and hopefully, if he can clean that up, he'll be getting some really good results.
Now, 69 laps of racing here today, Jake, so there's plenty of chances to overtake. You look at turn 1 at Dewan Corner, which is very fast sweeping. I remember seeing Ashley Sutton there in some touring car racing on iRacing, pulling some great moves. But in these McLaren MP430 vehicles, it's incredibly tough to go side by side, but the aid of DRS, the aid of the ERS as well, how drivers manage that today in all the braking zones, turn 4, one of the biggest, deepest braking zones on the circuit. This is where drivers need to be smart, and it's only 1 week of testing, so they're really pushed to the limit here coming towards round 2.
Oh, I have to agree with you. I think that with the lack of high braking areas that you find around Phillip Island, it creates this sort of unique challenge that you find in these MP430s, that you're not charging the ERS as much as you maybe should. We might see even as much as drivers not using ERS on a lap for the next lap in order to get a move sorted.
Yeah, and we saw that at Interlagos, where it created these DRS trains, these difficult overtaking spots. But, for Isaac Price here in P11, Jake, I mean, he did finish in the top 10 last race. Now he's got his work cut out for him. He's got Patrick Holtzman in front, Graham Carroll as well. You look at Alexei Usiakala, who, a big name, for Alexei and Isaac. The difference between the two is Isaac's been in the top 10. Now, he might not have the pace to win a race, but Alexei's down the order, and this is where he's 3/10 off his teammate. It's a really difficult situation for him. Is it just a poor qualifying performance? Is it a lack of pace? It's someone we expected to be right up there. Don't forget, he did win this round last year. He did win the opening 2 rounds of the 2015 season. So for Alexei right now, and Isaac from P8 and P11 on the grid, they've got their work cut out for him, not only to make their way up through the field, but to avoid incidents in that mid-pack.
We saw it in Interlagos. We saw Alexei Usiakala involved in an incident with his own teammate, and well, you just got to try and avoid the landmines at the start of each race. But to have these guys further down the field, of course, you can say Alexei Usiakala, an incredible driver, incredibly fast man. But if the car doesn't suit you as much as, say, the Williams FW31 did, then there's a lot more work that you actually do have to put into it, and everything still has to sort itself out with later races to come along.
Don't forget RaceSpot.tv/timing for all your live timing needs for the race today. So visit that and have it open in a new tab. Whatever you need to do, follow the race live. And we'll be helping you as well from the commentary booth here. So another big point of help, Rachel, is Mitchell de Jong. He's screaming out for your help here. He's in 2nd position. Now, the outside line into turn 1 looks very good. So whoever can get that outside line will essentially have the inside line into the southern loop at turn 2. Mitchell's got his work cut out for him because he's got Olli Pakala behind, but Martin Kroenke is going to try and do his best job from 4th on the grid. And, we've seen drivers sometimes, especially in, we look at Fernando Alonso last round, Alexei before he got into that incident with Gregor and Ollie. There are drivers who rocket off this line, so Mitchell really has to do the same.
Certainly does, and he's in a great place to do that. Phillip Island's turn 1 is one of the few opportunities you've got to go around the outside there and actually hold that into turn number 2. So it is a great opportunity to steal an early lead. Can you do that over Gregor Houtu? Well, that's going to be pretty hard to do, but it is possible. So if he doesn't have the best start, you can do that, as can P4, and well, they're teammates, so that's going to be a major advantage for both of them. And it seems they've fixed their car setup issues this race, so we could be seeing a whole different VRS Commander Sim Sport. But will they go full red line in the start? Who knows?
The logic here, Jake, is that for the likes of Joni Tomala in P5, when it's only a 1 week break between rounds, you see these types of guys do the same thing as they did in round 1 because there's not enough time for these drivers to rectify too many issues. The likes of Coanda, who have, speaking to the team, they've tried their best to sort of rectify their issues in terms of balance, ERS management, all that kind of stuff, speaking to them before the race. But for Joni Tomala here, he did start in a similar position at Interlagos. I wouldn't be writing him off for the win at all.
No, absolutely not. I think he qualified something like 3rd on the grid, 3rd or 4th at Interlagos, and he just proved with the pace that he had, he could stick it to Martin Kroenke, he could stick it to Mitchell de Jong, he could stick it to the guys ahead, and he could be this guy who could take a win by not just 1 second, 2 seconds as you normally see around here. He took the win by a quarter of a minute, and that says a lot about a driver. He's not just quick for one race, he'll be quick around here, and of course this is his favourite circuit.
What a lovely circuit, Phillip Island. As we spoke about earlier in the broadcast, 4.4 kilometers, that's 2.7 miles, clockwise layout. Now, it does turn right initially into turn 1, but it wraps around clockwise. 12 turns, 7 to the left, 5 to the right. So 69 laps of racing here today. We're going to see, it was 71 at Interlagos, Rachel, and that one-stop strategy looks very, very tempting, but there are a few drivers who, in practice, have noted that the two-stop can really work if you have a clean track and if you get it really right, but essentially in a race sort of situation, it seems one-stop is the way to go today.
Yeah, it certainly does, Johnny, and one stop I think is what we're going to see. It's more of a tyre thing than if obviously there is no refueling. We really expect to see just one pit stop in this one. It's going to be interesting when they bring this down. It's probably been about halfway, we expect, so depending on the drop-off we're seeing, we don't know yet, but expect that to be about halfway through the race. As it stands, we're looking really at a very interesting race in terms of evolution. Of course, these guys are going around here for quite a period of time today, so they have to manage the ERS. They have got a reserve, but in most cases, from what we know, they're going to be pretty much running on full recovery mode in most cases and most tracks because of the length of the lap. So there really isn't going to be as much ERS strategy in this race as you'd expect at some other places, but we're starting off with some pretty twisty tracks with lower speeds, so it's just going to be a major factor that it will not be dealing with. And they can kind of ignore it for most of these places. Places like Monza, less so.
Of course, thanks to Anwen Design for their overlay and graphics work. So the keys to the race here today, essentially, who makes up positions at the start? You'll save up valuable seconds. Look out for those drivers. What about ERS management, as Rachel and Jake were just speaking about? Not many heavy braking zones out here today, so drivers are really going to have to manage that. And finally, staying out of the DRS trains. That could cost drivers a lot of time. They all have DRS, and they all deploy ERS at the same points in the circuit, the same way we saw at Interlagos. Really, to counter this situation, you'll need to attack the abnormal parts of the circuit. What about turn 4, Honda corner? Turn 6 will be very interesting, so look out for that later on in the race after the ad break. But for now, that's post-qualifying coverage all but wrapped up. We'll see you shortly. Do not leave us. You're watching the 2016 iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series on RaceSpotTV, streamed live on iRacingLive. The race coming up next. Welcome to pre-race coverage for round 2 of the 2016 iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series on RaceSpotTV, streaming live on iRacingLive. So Phillip Island hosts this round, and Rachel, we come towards race time. The nerves build up, the passion builds up, the flair does as well. It's going to be intense moments for some of these drivers, but for one man, Gregor Huttu on pole position, it's become a similar sort of place for him to stay.
Well, this is the Gregor Huttu of old, of course, Johnny. This is the man who's won 5 championships. This is Gregor Huttu, the one we expect to see all the time. And he's taken pole there by just under a tenth of a second from Mitchell de Jong. He set the 1:07.208, Mitchell de Jong with a 3:05. That is a very big gap at this level, of course. If you look between de Jong and Pacala, it is 3:05 to a 3:13, then a 3:51. The gaps get smaller. Huttu has done it in his usual fashion, and he made it look easy. Gregor Huttu is obviously an incredible performance, but will he have the race he wants starting out front here today? Who knows?
Well, for Huttu, who is a 5-time world champion, he's got his work cut out for him this season after already having a poor finish, P11 at Interlagos, but luckily for him, he did actually finish the race for the likes of iWCGPS and more. You know, it's very difficult, Jake, for those kinds of guys. We spoke about this before, or post-qualifying coverage, where from P8 on the grid, he's got a lot of work to make up, and I think for him right now, it's about patience at the start. You don't want to get involved in another incident.
Oh, absolutely. It's a patience game. You got to think that you've already used your one drop week you get in the opening 12 races, and you really cannot afford to do that again. He's now going to be treading a thin line for the rest of the series, I have to say, and he's got to be really careful about what he does off this line, and in general, what he does on every single overtake that he does around this Phillip Island circuit.
For the championship standings for you, Joni Tamala does lead on 39 points, ahead of Sebastian Job, who did finish in the 2nd position last round. Then it's Martin Kroenke. Can Kroenke win a championship this season? That's a big question. He could be one of those drivers, Rachel, that will fail to even win a championship in the future. He doesn't want to join that list because he's got so much skill and so much potential. Definitely one of the best virtual racers out there today.
Yeah, absolutely, and that list is, of course, very exclusive. Only Gregor Huttu and Hugo Luis are on that list, so there's a lot of drivers vying to make their way onto that, and at the moment we do not know exactly if anyone can. Will Gregor Huttu adapt quickly to the new car? Because last time we switched car from the IR05 Indy car to the Williams FW31, it was Hugo Luis that won. So could this be the year for another driver? Will we see the usual Gregor Huttu today? Will he lead from the start and run away with this one? We just don't know. Will it be Joni Tamala? Can he do it again?
Yeah, Joni Tamala, only 19 years of age for the Finnish driver, and so his best result before that was P5 at Phillip Island in 2014. So this is a racetrack which he's gone really well at, Jake, but that was 2 years ago, and that's irrelevant. New car, new different championship and season right here. He's still P5 on the grid, and as I said, this is where he was last time out in Interlagos, around this sort of spot in the grid. He can still win this race.
Oh, absolutely. Certain drivers click with certain cars, and it seems that Tamala has this clicking feel with everything going on. And I feel that if he keeps on going the way he does and he continues these fine results, I think he can be a viable contender for this championship this year.
Don't forget, live timing is available on RaceSpot.tv/timing, and you can view all your timing needs for the race as you track the broadcast as well. So right now, Michael Dinkel's made the grid, Rachel. Good for Michael Dinkel. He definitely has top 15 race pace. Now, we saw that with his top 15 finish at Interlagos. Another man who has his work cut out for him, but for now, we'll look at the grid for you as 5-time world champion Gregor Huttu leads the grid in P1. Pole position for him, a 1:07.208. Mitchell de Jong in P2, a 1:07.305. You look down the order on the second row, it's Olli Pacala and Martin Kroenke for Redline and Coanda separately. Then Joni Tamala, round 1 winner, just ahead of Australian Riley Preston at his home track. Can he win the race here today? Let's see. Molgar Filho, the Brazilian, in P7. Great qualifying performance from him. Then it's Redline's iWCGPS down the order. The rest of the top 10, it's Carroll and Holtzman for P9 and 10. down the rest of the field. You look at Isaac Price, P11, another few notable names. Yuta Saito, who had a great race at Interlagos. He's got incredible pace for the Ronin Racing team. A lone driver for that team. Let's see what he can do to cap off round 2 here. Look at Kazuki Mishima as well in 19th. Marti Piatella for Coanda, P21. Diogo Loveto, good to see him on the grid as well for Positive Sim Racing. Marin Cholak, not the best qualifying performance for him for the Orion Racing team. And a few other names. Very notable here, Rachel. Sebastian Job, P33. Alex Simpson, P34. What are the Apex Racing UK drivers doing there?
Of course, Alex Simpson didn't finish last time out at Interlagos, Johnny. He was involved in an accident with his teammate, of course. Graham Carroll, of course, caught in that incident. But we did see, of course, Sebastian Job on the podium. Job, of course, and Alex. Yes. The setup's not looking great today. A few of their drivers also down the order. So, well, looks like while some teams have made leaps forward, Apex Racing UK has gone backwards.
Your final pick for the race, Jake?
In my opinion, I feel like it's all going to come down to who makes a good opening stint and actually who can get the pit entry correct the most. It's really understated. So I think maybe even a driver like Martin Kroenke can find himself through the field if he gets a good run.
So Jake says Kroenke, and there's only 20 seconds left to the grid. Don't forget, RaceSpot.TV/timing for your live timing needs. The nerves build up. The passion builds up, and the flair as well. 450 meters from pole position awaits Gregor Hutu all the way down to turn 1, Duin corner. They'll wrap around that and head to the southern loop as they wait for the 5 lights to illuminate. Drivers on the throttle, and we go green for 69 laps of racing. Wonderful start from Martin Kroenke from 4th on the grid, attacking teammate Mitchell de Jong. He's jumped ahead of Ollie Pakula, but Gregor Hutu leads into the first corner, just ahead there of Mitchell de Jong. Kroenke 3rd, Pakula 4th. Bit of a shambles down the order as well. A few drivers fighting, and I think that's de Jong going wide into turn 2. So he's got his work cut out for him here with Martin Kroenke on the run down to turn 4, Rachel.
Yeah, absolutely big jump by Ilkka Haapala. Huge jump from the grid, slotting between a few of the cars, taking out on 3 wide as we head here down to the first hairpin. It's all contact early on as cars fitting into gaps they do not want to go in. I don't think I've ever seen 3 wide work through that one, Johnny, but my God, they make it stick. No one's off.
Yeah, Pakula fighting here with Martin Kroenke on the exit of Siberia, side by side through this section of the racetrack. Oh, car off the racetrack as well, Rachel.
We have a car off the racetrack. It's one of the Apex Racing UK cars. Trying to work out who that is for you right now. We do have a name, I believe, that could have been Van Loosenord. It is.
So Martin Van Loosenord off the racetrack, unfortunate for him. But as we close to the end of the first lap, it is Gregor Hutu who leads by 1 second as he crosses the line ahead of Coanda Simsport's Mitchell de Jong. Team Redline's Ollie Pakula in 3rd. He was initially jumped by Martin Kroenke, but he's made his way back past. Incredible aggression there, and Martin Kroenke does include, or he's 4 tenths behind Ollie Pakula there in the 4th position. Yoni Tormolo, the round 1 winner, in 5th. Riley Preston in 6th. So Alexei Usiakla has jumped up a position here, Jake, but it stayed really stagnant. You know, Isaac Price up 3 positions though into P8. Apart from that, the grid hasn't shaken up too much. The biggest drop, I think, Morgarfilio from P7 to 12.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You have to feel that Alexei Usiakla got an absolute stormer of a start, but because cars ahead of him were going 2 or 3 wide, he just got blocked off ahead, and nothing really could come off of his start and could only gain 1 place. And now the work ethic's got to go on because he's already 3 seconds back of his own teammate.
We haven't spoken about Jeremy Bouteloup much for the Radicals Online team, but he's currently in P13, hounding teammate Morgarfilio here into turn 10. Filio goes defensive early on here, only lap 2 of the event. And we speak about lap 2 of the event. Gregor Hutu has a 1.6 second lead on Mitchell de Jong. He's flying away here in the early stages. But look at Jeremy Bouteloup. Great run out of the final corner in turn 12. Using all the ERS he can. Robin Friskops behind is staying patient, with the 2 teammates here side by side into the first corner. Lap 3 of the event. Bouteloup around the outside, but there's not enough speed, not enough traction. And he'll have to maintain P13 for another lap around, for at least another few turns around. Turn 4 is a great overtaking opportunity here, Rachel. So for the likes of Jeremy Bouteloup, he can set up Mogar. If he can't get it into turn 1, turn 4 is a great opportunity here into the hairpin.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's a slow speed corner. You get a lot of bunching up there. Of course, we saw 3 wide there on the first lap. So certainly an option for that, and one of those drivers who's used to doing that around this sort of track is Sebastian Joe. He's already on a charge. He is up 6 positions in the racetrack already. Huge movement for him as Kazuki Omashima, who's currently running in P15, up from P19, another big mover in your field. He was one of the standout drivers last time at Interlagos. The Radicals UK driver is doing a great job.
Yeah, wonderful stuff from Kazuki. Tried to attack Robin Friskops. We don't see many mistakes from Robin Friskops, Jake, but Friskops staying cool there, so Kazuki really has his work cut out for him as well. But Jeremy Bootloop, round 2 here on his teammate, around the outside into turn 1, and I think he's got this move done. Mogar lets him through, and Jeremy Bootloop up into P12. Wonderful stuff from the Frenchman. Now Friskops is very close behind Filio. He has to be careful here, Mogar, because he could lose another position, this time to someone who's not on his team.
Well, he's got to play rear gunner right now. He's got to make sure that his teammate, Jeremy Bootaloop, actually gets the getaways. They see they're going to go side by side through Honda here. Turn number 4. Can he make the move stick? No. But he might just have an opportunity into 6 into Siberia. No, he doesn't. And, well, everything now just has to cool down a little bit here. Mogar Filio now has to play the defensive game and make sure his teammate can escape to the cars higher up the field.
So here's Kazuki Mishima. He's just waiting for these two to pounce because he's right there ready to claim any positions. Oh, he's gone very wide into Lukey Heights. Anton Higgling behind the Apex Racing UK car. Very close to Kazuki. And I think Friskops here has had a great run out of turn 11. Turn 12 is a difficult corner. This is where the rear end tries to step away from you. But the traction there for Friskops. Wonderful stuff from the Inex Racing car. And he's side by side on the run down to turn 1 here with Mogar Filio. Could it be a double whammy in 2 laps for Mogar? On Friskops around the outside. He gets the position. What a move from Robin Friskops up into P13. Claims and steals that position away from Mogar Filio. Lap 5 of the event. You could say it's almost game over for Mogar in this stage, Rachel.
Yeah, stunning move there by Robin Friskops. Just what you want to see in a racetrack. We mentioned around the outside in turn 1, but not normally something you see after the first lap. But the Inex Racing driver, Robin Friskops, nailing that one perfectly. Brave move, and well, it paid off for him.
This is where we see drivers who are stuck in traffic. They lose a lot of time, but the top 12 here in the event, all the way down from Gregor Hutu to Jeremy Bootloop, it's 9.5 seconds the gap between 12 drivers, incredibly close. Hutu leads though by 2.5 seconds. Then it's Mitchell de Jong in 2nd position, Ollie Pakala 3rd, Martin Kroenke in 4th, Joni Tomala 5th, the rest of the top 10, Riley Preston, Alexei Usiakala, Isaac Price, Patrick Holtzman, and Graham Carroll. Now Kazuki Mishima here could pass Mogar Filio. Mogar's really falling down the order, Jake. And Kazuki has a big look on his teammate up the inside. Not enough space though. And Kazuki will play second fiddle. Will be P15 for another few corners. They wrap around the southern loop. Important to get traction out of here, as I mentioned, because turn 4 is a great overtaking spot, Jake.
Oh, absolutely. You can see Kazuki Umeshima closing ever more. Will he have a look? No, not this time. But oh, car going off a little bit shaky there. Managed to keep it sorted, but it seems that Mogar Filio at the moment is dropping time, and again he's dropping 1 second this time and the other, and well, it seems that everything's just going to have to be that waiting game a little bit more.
Yeah, this is a terrible start for Mogar Filio. From 7th on the grid, he's in P14, he's being attacked and hounded by his teammate. This is the last driver you want on your tail, Rachel, because Kazuki Mishima can overtake. He's incredible with his racecraft. It's just about consistency for him. And I think he improved it into Lagos. So let's see if Kazuki can find his way into the top 10 here.
Yeah, certainly. And if anybody can do that, it's Kazuki Omashima. Impressive season start for him. I just want to have a quick look at the front of your field, Johnny. Hutu, 2.6 second lead already over Mitchell de Jong. And behind him, Pakala sticking with him pretty closely. So it's not the car per se, but this is what Gregor Hutu can do without having a damaged car. Let's not forget it into Lagos last round. He had damage from his lap 1 contact with Alexei Usiakala. Not here. Look at the gap he has. But we are seeing Mitchell de Jong and Martin Kroenke keeping up a lot better at the moment. Tomala, though, not letting go. He's catching Kroenke for the 2nd race in a row.
Yeah, Riley Preston with a 1 minute 9.283 was the fastest driver on the racetrack. Hutu with clean air, no DRS, and essentially calm, in a calm state of mind. A 1 minute 9.3, he's 2/10 faster than Mitchell de Jong in P2 and teammate Ollie Pakula in P3. Now, Pakula was extremely close at the end of this main straight. They cross the line now as de Jong comes towards that start-finish straight. So Pakula's 8/10 behind. He's lost a lot of time this lap. Now we get into that stage, Jake, where the DRS trains come. All the drivers have DRS at the same time, and it nullifies the effect. They all deploy ERS in the same stages or same places on the racetrack, and you get this never-ending situation where no one can overtake. But you can counter this situation easily if you start to use flair and poise. And right now, Joni Tamala trying to do that right onto the back of Martin Kroenke for P4.
Oh yes, absolutely. You just find yourself in this endless cycle of trying to push yourself to be that little bit quicker, but knowing that the guy's got exactly the same tools at his disposal ahead, it really does deflate you. It really does get you down. And right now, Joni Tamala's got to be careful here about how he works, because he's got Riley Preston behind him, who is one of the fastest guys on the circuit right now. And you can see now as they headed just past Lukey Heights down into this big hairpin right-hander right now. He's got the closest run I've seen him have for a long time, and this could be Tamala's chance, you know, here, Johnny.
Yeah, he needs to get a great run out of turn 12. The fight for traction. Now, we'll look for that flap to open on the rear end of the car, the NX Racing car. There it is. Kroenke also has DRS, though, on the run down to turn 1. Joni Tamala very, very close to Martin Kroenke, but it's not enough into the first corner. The Coanda SimSport driver staying cool, and he has the straight line speed. Now, they've rectified their issues, Rachel, from last round, so it seems to be working pretty well. But actually, we'll stay on board with this on towards turn 4. On board with Joni Tamala here on the run down to the Honda corner. But I think he's a bit too far behind, and he stays behind Kroenke. Very patient there, good to see. But yeah, both cars having DRS, Rachel, and good to see Coanda at least with de Jong and Kroenke still at the front at this stage of the race, not like Interlagos.
Yeah, they are, Johnny, thank you. Of course, at the moment, this is getting interesting. We saw the run into turn 1, Joni Tamala getting a bit wiggly as he turned into the corner, carrying the extra speed from the DRS. So, could be still a bit of an issue for passing. Of course, the dirty air is still a problem here. He is desperate to get past Martin Kroenke, of course, being chased from behind by Riley Preston in that number 94 machine. So it's going to be a really tough job for him, but we can see if he can manage this one. He has to find some clean air. If he can stay this close now to Martin, he has a real chance as we are on the straight now, running towards turn number 1. Will he do it this time by? DRS flap is open and not close enough again. Johnny?
Yeah, I think Coanda really have the straight line speed here. Only lap 10 of 69, so that one-stop strategy is really the strategy to play. Now, we saw Mitchell de Jong last round going for the two-stop. Tamala has a great run out of the southern loop. On towards turn 3 here, Stoner corner, side-by-side into the Honda corner, turn 4, under-braking. Joni Tamala side-by-side with Martin Kroenke. Kroenke has the inside line and the traction, and he keeps that 4th position ahead of the NX Racing car. So, Jake, we come into this stage of the race where this is where Joni really lit up the times last time at Interlagos. He's doing the same thing at Phillip Island. Very, very scary.
Oh, absolutely, and he's trying every which way you look right now, just trying to make a move sorted. You can see there, defending a little bit there was Kroenke down just past Lukey Heights, and now you have to know that NX Racing generally have a car which works really well in its top speed sector, so it just shows how much work Coanda are putting in just so they can neutralise that sort of factor here. You'll see them go again down this start-finish straight. You'll see them try and make the move again, and well, I still don't think he's quite close enough this time, and the answer to that one is no, he isn't.
Quick point to actually raise here. We've got a big moment there as we have some of these guys fighting on track at the moment. And that is Mogar Philo, I should say, and Antoine Heglin there. That's Apex Racing and the Radicals Online side by side here through turn 1 and turn 2. Will we see Antoine Heglin making a move? He does. He completed it in turn 2. Big move there. We had some great side by side battling with those guys for about a lap.
Yeah, wonderful stuff there. We had word about that. So, and Anton Heglin just ahead of Mogar. So Mogar's dropping down the field incredibly quick as Joni Tamala still hasn't made any progress on... it's Yuta Saito, I think, has had a spin here. Yuta Saito off the racetrack. That's at the Honda corner. Incredible stuff here for Yuta Saito. Maybe an error under braking, who knows. So for Yuta, who had an incredible first round at Interlagos, Jake, unfortunately now with a spin, he's all the way down the order in P30.
Oh, absolutely. It was an awful moment there. He just saw the gap on the outside, broke a little bit too late for himself, just let the car switch out on him, and he was just there planted on the outside of Honda, couldn't do anything to pull himself back into position right now. But we just got to look down this field, and Sebastian Job in the number 12 car, he's pulled up another 2 places in the laps that we haven't looked at him, and he'll be looking to try and catch Jonas Nukkarainen ahead of him.
Here's Ilkka Haapala very, very close to Mogar Filio into turn 1, but he's not close enough. And is that Anton Higelin in front? It is. So Higelin on his own right now after passing Mogar Filio, so he's broken away. Mogar's suffering quite a lot. What's wrong with his race pace? Definitely, maybe it could be some damage as well. So incredible stuff here. But Rachel, for Mogar, it's not a good race for him, and we keep speaking about it, but we haven't seen someone drop down the field this much. Maybe unless it was Coanda last round.
Well, Mogar may just be struggling with this car on this track, so it could be specific to Phillip Island. He had a much better race last time out. It could well be this place. Honestly, Johnny, you've been here, you've driven here. This is an awkward racetrack. It is not like many others, and the Brazilian driver may just be suffering a bit of Aussieitis. He just cannot quite get to grips with the unique nature of this racetrack. The 2 double hairpins, you've got Lukey Heights and the drop. They are very awkward corners to get right, and for some people, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, Joni Tamala right now on the exit of the southern loop has got another great run on Martin Kroenke, but it falls into this sort of DRS train. The way the drivers employ the ERS as well, they're all doing it at the same time, and it nullifies the effect. So this is where Joni has to do something different. By the way, if you haven't noticed on live timing, that's RaceSpot.tv/timing to follow live timing for this event. Gregor Hutu leads by 3.5 seconds ahead of Mitchell de Jong. Incredible stuff here from the 5-time world champion. But more importantly, race 1 winner Joni Tomala is right onto the back of Martin Kroenke for yet another lap. So is this where you risk it, Rachel? Is this where you go for the 2-stop? But last time that happened for Mitchell de Jong, it detrimented his race incredibly much.
Yeah, absolutely. The 2-stop here we do not think is a viable option. The tyres will last, and you're losing too much time on pit road here. It's a very, very long, awkward pit entry here at Phillip Island. Exit is fine. You're coming off almost on the entry to turn 1, but the entrance is narrow, and it turns, and it's awkward to keep the car fast going down. So you do not want to be on this pit road too many times today.
Yeah, definitely not. As Joni Tomala here forcing Kroenke defensive into turn 4. That move is going to come soon enough. But Pakala in front helping Kroenke with the DRS as well. And Kroenke is very, very experienced, Jake. We've seen him in Endurance. We've seen him in the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series here. He's a race winner. So is Pakala. So is de Jong. And so is Hutu. Tamala in the top 5 as well joins that list. But what about Riley Preston in P6? Actually, on that note, Kroenke suffered incredibly much through Lukey Heights here, through the hairpin at turn 10, on towards 11, very, very tight, not using much curb. Now the dynamic track coming into play, you can see the track rubbering up as the race progresses, but Tomala here has another great run, but that turn 12 traction doesn't help. He flicks on DRS, deploys the ERS as well, lap 15 of 69 for the event, but he's too far behind this time around, so Kroenke maintains P4, and I think we're going to get used to this for another lap again. And Joni just can't find a way through.
No, he can't, but you've got to be careful with the cars behind, because Riley Preston and the number 3 of Aleski Usiakola have pulled themselves onto the back of this train, and if they battle even more than they do right now, they might even be allowing Isaac Price to come in the 99 machine into this massive train that's building up now. At the moment, it seems that Akala finds himself in the car out in front, but not being challenged, and it's all being directed traffic onto the 5 of Kroenke, who is one of these really quick drivers, but it could be a situation that we might just have to wait for the pit stops to break everything up.
Yeah, we know back when the Williams FW31 last year, we had fuel involved, different kinds of drivers going for longer first stints. Hugo Luis, who isn't racing here today, he was had a great tendency last year to go long in that first stint, so it becomes a different sort of element here, Rachel, at this sort of racetrack with these sort of cars. These drivers are one-stopping. It's about when you make that pit stop, and for Joni right now, he has to maintain his mind. He has to keep his mind straight. He's got his engineer on his back as well, telling him what to do, where the gaps are on the racetrack. Kroenke went very long last time around. Do you think it's worth Joni trying to undercut the Coanda SimSport driver this round?
It could be, and I think it would be a great move for him to try and make the tyres at the end of the lifespan here aren't that far off, so I'm not sure it'll be a major advantage, but every little helps.
So Jake Sturgis right here and Jorge Montañez. This is a nice little battle going on as Montañez in P19, Sturgis ahead in P18. Montañez has a little peek at the Honda corner, turn 4, and he gets onto the curb a little bit as well. David Corp's getting unsettled behind in the Orion Racing Team car. But Montañez from Movano is sticking behind right now. Now Sturgis is that driver, Rachel, which is he's incredibly dynamic, much like Kroenke, very fast on ovals, very fast in a Grand Prix car as well. So, you know, we need more drivers like that, diversifying their skill and experience. And in the modern day, we see a lot more drivers like that too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a real challenge for them to be in this position, and I think the job they're doing is absolutely amazing. But, you know, there's always more to strive for. Always.
So Pakula right now in P3 has no DRS from Mitchell de Jong in front. He's fallen behind. He's 1.4 seconds behind. But here's Joni Tommela having another look at Martin Kroenke for P4. Side by side into the Honda corner. But Kroenke just uses that inside line. Tommela tries to use the grip around the outside. There's none there. And he has to really back off the throttle. That oh wow, that Inex racing car is... He's got some great balance, but the traction out of the corners isn't as good as we hoped for Interlagos. I think it was more the grip around the outside there, Jake, as this dynamic track rubbers up. It didn't help Joni there, and I think if he grips that line up a little bit more for maybe another 10 laps and he gets an aid of a few other drivers, he could make a move on Kroenke around the outside there.
It could be very much possible, as once again they find themselves coming through the final corner now, looking to start another lap. And will Tommela be close? Well, he's really close at the moment. I think this is the closest he's actually possibly been. He might go to the inside here, but you can see just how much it's difficult here. I don't think he's got his nose in front, and no, he doesn't. So Kroenke survives for another lap, but surely pressure's going to tell. Surely the time's going to tell on here, because Kroenke is slow in so many areas.
Yeah, and I think this comes to last round as well. Maybe Coanda are suffering with some ERS issues. Kroenke trying to defend. Does he have enough power in that Coanda SimSport car? Is he suffering from those same issues as round 1? Because De Jong seems fine. He's breaking away from Olli Pakula in P3. But for Kroenke, he's starting to fall into the clutches here of Joni Tommela, who had incredible management, an incredible car at Interlagos. And he thanked the team a lot for their hard work. Isaac Price as well, Robin Friskops, Jake Sturgis, the Inex Racing team having a great season. But right now, Joni Tommela could put an end to Martin Kroenke's chances here of making his way up through the field. Now, Kroenke getting unsettled there, Rachel. Very, very shaky under braking. And this is... Oh, look at that. On the exit of turn 11 as well. A few little moments there for Martin Kroenke. Can he keep ahead of Joni Tommela on the main straight?
I don't think he can. Tommela's definitely got a better exit from the final corner there. This could be a big one for him. Gap's not closing quickly enough. So, of course, the DRS effect that Kroenke is getting from Olli Pakula is not allowing him to just get past. So both of them open the DRS. It's a problem, but they are catching Pakula. Oh, big close-up there between Tommela and Kroenke. Kroenke is definitely having a few issues with that car. He's not happy with it. Tommela definitely on the attack here. He's pushing Kroenke. We might see a mistake from the master at some point.
No, talking about mistakes, Pakula's run very wide through the Honda corner. He's taken a wide line, missed the apex slightly. Now he's only 4 tenths in front of Martin Kroenke, or 3 tenths now. It's the same gap between Pakula to Kroenke and Kroenke to Tommela. And is Mogar Filio, who've had word, may have issues on the racetrack down the field. So it's been a horrid race from Mogar Filio, a race to forget. But this DRS train is building up. This is what we expected. It's about which driver has the bravery, Jake. Right now, Joni seems to have the most bravery out of all of these drivers, taking it to Martin Kroenke the same way he did last round. Great run out of the final corner here for Joni Tommela. Flicks on DRS. Does he have the straight line speed, though? It seems Coanda's breaking away up the inside. And no way, Joni Tommela, and I think Inex here, Jake, are going to regret their setup for this round. Not enough straight line speed. Maybe not deploying as much ERS as the rest of the guys. Who knows here, Jake, but certainly can't make his way past Martin Kroenke.
Oh no, but he'll have another go here. He'll go to the outside here as they head through 3 and now to 4, and he's got his nose in front, but it's not certain yet. Into the right-hander they've come along, and well, has he got the nose still there? Answer to that one is no, he still can't make the move sorted. So Joni Tommela trying every which way, and it's not working out for him, but something to note is Ollie Pakala seems to be the factor that these guys are trying to work with. He's lost the back of Mitchell de Jong, and now surely he will soon become the target down these front straightaways.
Yeah, definitely so. He's 1.9 seconds behind the Coanda Simsport car of Mitchell de Jong. By the way, we've forgotten that Gregor Hutu's led this race to that number 66 Team Redline car. A 1 minute 9.4 last time around. He crosses the line now to begin lap 20 of the event. A 1 minute 9.5. He's about half a second faster than these guys battling lap after lap. He's breaking away from the pack. This could be a lights to flag finish for Gregor Hutu, but Tomola doesn't have a good run this time around. Jeremy Booth looped down the field, also very close to Carroll on our timing screens, but he can't make his way through. Hectic battles here, Rachel, but I guess this is what you want to see in motor racing. You don't want to see easy DRS passes. You don't want to see ERS aiding all these easy straight passes. You want drivers fighting, and it makes that one pass even more special as Bootloop fights his way into the top 10, straight past Apex Racing UK's Graham Carroll. Does he have the traction? He indeed does, and he keeps P10.
Yeah, he certainly will. Graham Carroll, of course, worked his way up in the field there at the moment. He was a little bit further back. He did start P9, of course, but he's heading back towards that top 10 again. As, yeah, big move there by the driver of Bootloop. He deserves to be up there. He's had some great results last season. Not quite in there this time by. But the Radicals car is looking very good at the moment himself. And, of course, he has, we believe, one or two other people around him in the top 10. But it's also getting close. We've got some big different names here. I mean, Riley Preston, new to the top 10 for sure. It's great seeing him there.
Well, Riley was a late bloomer in really the Rookie Series, the Road Pro Series, which sees the other drivers who make the World Championship and gain that license for this championship here. Preston really won the last race of that series. He was a late bloomer. Graham Carroll, currently in P11, the champion, and a few other drivers through the field. You look at Van Loosenhoorn, who was unfortunately one of the drivers out of this race, and we look at that list right now. Actually, no, he's still in the race, excuse me, but he was involved in an early incident. All drivers still on the lead lap, Jake. Pretty impressive.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and they're doing a really good job of just making sure they've got this speed sorted, make sure that everything's happening. As something's happened with Ilpa Happala, I don't quite know what it is. Maybe you can fill me in on what's going on with him.
Yeah, I think someone said he has had a spin on the exit of the Southern Loop Turn 2. So Happala, who did make his way past Anton Higgelin the lap before, has unfortunately dropped down the field. He's currently in P27. This is where, Rachel, you make a mistake and you lose the grip in the tyres. You have to stay calm for the next few laps and keep those cars fresh and cool. Keep those tyres fresh and cool, because you're not going to really be making a pit stop until about 50% of the distance through.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, when you heat these tyres up, when you lock them up, you've got to find a way of dissipating that heat, and you're going to have to be very gentle on the brakes for the next few laps, braking a little earlier or perhaps a little less. So if you're lifting off sooner and then braking about half as much as you normally would, of course the downforce in these cars will actually do a lot of braking for these drivers. So as soon as they lift off the throttle, cars decelerate a huge amount. So they can do that early and they can recover. Of course, they will not actually be able to recover as much of their ERS energy if they do this, but of course it lets the tyres cool down, which means they actually have traction. So it's a balancing act constantly. Keep tyre temperature as low as you can, but keep the braking as high as possible.
That two-stop window is opening around about now. We're looking at lap 25 to see those first two-stoppers come in. Now, I don't think we're really going to see that for many, if not any drivers at all in the field right now. So that one-stop strategy, of course, around 50% of the way through. Lap 35, lap 30, maybe around lap 32, you'll see those first one-stoppers coming in. Maybe slightly earlier for the drivers who are stuck in traffic. Joni Tomla, though, our round one winner, cannot make his way through. And this brings up the question, Jake. Let's see what he can do in clean air maybe later on in the race, because he certainly has the pace and the ERS management here on Martin Kroenke.
Oh, absolutely, and you can see him. He's going to probably line up another move down into 4. I don't think he's close enough, though, at Honda, and the answer is no. He still has to wait a little bit further, but you just got to be careful. You just got to look out, because the more that these guys battle, Isaac Price and Patrick Holzman will come back into play. They're only about 1.6 back or something like that, and they'll be looking to chomp at the bit here to get themselves fighting up for a battle as much as a podium.
Yeah, the top 7 separated by less than 10 seconds, so you make one little mistake here, you spin off the racetrack, you essentially find your way down the order, you maybe even outside of the top 10. So Alexei heads that P7 position. He's just behind Riley Preston. Isaac Price in P8. Patrick Holtzman in P9. He was caught up, Rachel, in that red line shambles at Interlagos at turn 1. I think that's an understatement calling it a shambles. It was quite horrific what happened there. But on that note, actually, Joni Tomala here side by side with Kroenke into turn 1 cannot make his way through. And I believe Jeremy Bootloop as well has also gotten past Patrick Holtzman. So 2 different passes on the racetrack at the same time, Rachel. Good to see. But Tomala, this is where he's really starting to get impatient right behind Martin Kroenke.
Yeah, very much. And of course, Alexei Usiakola behind Riley Preston. He was the winner last time here, don't forget. So he's struggling. He's only up in P number 7. He qualified 8, so 1 move in 25 laps. Really a pretty mild day for him. Joni Tomala, though, he is definitely faster than Martin Kroenke, but of course this track is very narrow, not many overtaking opportunities, and most of them are in braking zones, which seems to be... Oh, he nearly... Oh, he's off. He whips it round. He cuts contact. Riley Preston round. Big crash for Joni Tomala as he takes a second chunk out of Riley Preston. Last round's winner in a 51 NX Racing car is out, Johnny.
Oh, incredible stuff there as Joni Tomala loses the car, a little bit of damage and a double whammy as well. Riley Preston, now we look at a replay of the incident. It seems as Joni, who is going to enter the pit lane, he just got caught up on Lukey Heights. He had a great look at Martin Kroenke, and I think he got a little bit overwhelmed and very excited. Oh my goodness gracious. Riley did try to avoid it, but he's spinning on his roof as well. I'm surprised that car is still going here, Jake. A horrific incident, and unfortunately for both Riley and Joni, they enter the pit lane, and incredible damage for both drivers.
That is such an unfortunate incident. Martin Kroenke ran a little bit wide, and it seemed that maybe Tomala thought, this is my opportunity. We were talking about drivers being a bit impatient, and he went for the opportunity. It didn't manifest, and then he just, on the sheer underspeed that he had, he just lost the back end, and that's what caught Riley Preston into it. But I tell you what this has done. This has opened up a gap between Kroenke and Usiakola now. It's a gap of 3 seconds, and this is a gap which will just calm down Martin Kroenke a little bit, and now he can focus on Olli Pakala and maybe a podium position at the end of it.
Yeah, Alexei Usiakola, from his onboard perspective, he did seem to back off the throttle, and he was very patient through there, so he goes away unscathed. He's in P5 right now, so Kroenke will still have to defend here from Usiakola if he can catch up. Indeed, if Kroenke is struggling, but Rachel, not the best time of the race here, and not the best time of the season for Tomala to make that mistake coming off a race win.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think people are discussing at the moment exactly what happened to him there, and I think it's kind of important we just have a quick little look at it technically. Coming up Lukey Heights, you've got a fairly big deceleration you've got to make. You've got to change sides of the track from the right to the left as you go over the crest and start to drop down. So you've got to get that car moving across. And what he saw was, of course, the deceleration you have at the top of Lukey Heights. Martin Kroenke slowed down to move across the track to the left. When he did that, closed in too quickly, he had to swerve to the left, which meant he was just lifting off a little too much, braking a bit too hard, and the front just went as we have Sebastian Job.
Yeah, Sebastian Job straight past Marti Pietella, and he's up into P17. So Marti not having the best of seasons. We've seen this, well, a lot better results from Marti right here for the Quanta Simsport team, but he'll find his form soon enough. And you know, I mean, when you rise into turn 9 here, you gradually release the throttle. Maybe some people dabbing the brakes. Depends on your setup and how well confident and balanced you are. You brake just as the car starts to dip downhill. It's really unfortunate to see Tomala, who probably had the best opportunity all race, as Marin Cholak is in a little bit of a battle here with Jonas Nukarainen behind. We'll focus on this for now. Nukarainen having a look, but Cholak with some great speed through turn 1. But yeah, Jake, it's just really unfortunate for Tomala. And let's not forget, we're forgetting the fact that Riley Preston's also just suffered a lot from this as well. Someone who had a great race as well, and at his home track.
Yeah, it's a really disappointing incident. Of course, nobody wants to be caught up in incidents like this. And, well, just looking back down the field, the pack here that is forming around Nukarainen and Job is just it's absolutely amazing right now to see here through 17 onwards. And Job will now have to try and think, David Decorp's next up on track. I've got to keep chasing. I've got to keep pounding away.
Yeah, right now, Marin Cholak from P24 to P20 is doing an incredible job. And Sebastian Job, P33 on the grid all the way to 17th. I mean, hats off to him. Oh, and Jonas Nukkarainen, I think, had a little bit of a moment on the exit of turn 10. But he's stopped on the side of the racetrack, rejoins. What happened there? It just seemed he had a little bit of a brain lapse, I think. But for Jonas Nukkarainen on the exit, no balance. And we'll have a look at the replay now on your screens, as you can see. So, I mean, Jonas Nukkarainen there on the exit, Rachel. Just a lapse of concentration.
Yeah, certainly, and that sort of thing happens, unfortunately. The car just gets upset and you got to react instantly or it's gone, and that happened to him. But we've been talking about his teammate, of course, Sebastian Job in the 12. Up from P33 to P17, he's climbed half the field already.
And David Corpse as well had a moment. In front of David Corpse is that Piatello who's gone off the racetrack. Oh, a lot's happening at this stage of the race. Lap 29 of 69 for the event. We've still got 40 laps remaining in this event, Jake. And there's drivers making a lot of mistakes. It's only the start, really. It's not even the end. Not even the beginning of the end. As De Corpse seems to be suffering from some sort of issue.
Oh, yeah, well, he had a little bit of an error somewhere around the circuit, but something to note is the battle up at the front, and it seems that Martin Kroenke now is on an island on his own. He's lost the back of Ollie Pakula, who has caught back up to Mitchell de Jong, and now Kroenke's got to be thinking, I've got to be careful with the likes of Price and Boostloop, because it seems like Jussi Akola might have just come into pits.
Yeah, he is out and away for Alexei Jussi-Akola, and he feeds in just behind Martti Piatello, who made that mistake. David De Corpse attacking as well. We're focusing on these guys. And now Rachel, Alexei's pitted early here, one-stop strategy. This is a round where he's pitted a bit early of the window, but he's tried to get out of that traffic, and I think his engineer hasn't helped him too much. He's feeded right behind Martti Piatello and into turn 4 here, side-by-side under braking. And Piatello will let him through. He knows he's much faster on fresher Pirelli rubber. And Alexei Jussi-Akola up into P17.
Well, yeah, exactly. It would be P17 from his pit stop, of course. But he was running in the top 5 position. P5, actually, currently occupied by Isaac Price, who has not been in yet. But, yeah, Alexei Jussi-Akola on a good run here, of course, taking advantage of the crash we saw before. Looking at Isaac Price at the moment, moving up on the back of one of the iNext racing cars. That is the 99 car. Actually, no, he's been caught, I should say, by the Radical car of Jeremy Boutaloop. Had my Radicals and my iNexts backwards. That's embarrassing.
That's right. They're both competing for the same sort of position in the championship. But iNext right now with Tamala's win, and unfortunate his huge mistake and error early in this race, as the Apex Racing UK cars do enter the pit lane. It's oh my goodness, I don't know what to say about that now. I'm lost for words. We'll speak of that later, because Jeremy Boutaloop right now has gotten straight past Isaac Price. Now he's gained a lot of time here on Isaac. Is Isaac really reaching that cliff, Jake, with the tires? Is there something wrong? Is he managing his ERS deployment? There's something going on for Isaac, because Jeremy Boutaloop, either he's really fast or Isaac's suffering a lot.
Well, it was an absolutely sensational move down the inside into Honda. He just got it a little bit wide, sorted it out side by side, had to sort it out through Siberia. Car coming in there, which is VRS Coanda bound. I don't quite know who it is. I think it might be Martin Kroenke, and it is.
Yes.
And well, everything going on here, and now he's got to try and salvage the race from here on out.
Yeah, Martin Kroenke, let's see where he feeds out. Oh, very long pit stop here, Rachel, for Martin Kroenke. And he gets out and away. It was much longer than Alexei Jussi-Akola, and I think the Akola's jumped him. Alexei Jussi-Akola gets ahead of Martin Kroenke. Very slow stop from the Coanda SimSport crew. So Kroenke now effectively is in P5 once everybody does make their pit stops. But let's see if this undercut works. So Alexei Jussi-Akola with that undercut, fastest lap of the race, so 1 minute 8.958. He was 0.8 faster than Gregor Hutu. We could see Alexei right now, if Hutu stays out for another 5 laps. Alexei Jussi-Akola could take the lead, possibly.
Yeah, he could. Big move from here. Of course, we know Ride on are great with their pit stops, of course. But we just had an issue for Martin van Loosenhoord. He's had a crash, we believe, and it was in Lukey Heights again. He goes wide on the outside of Lukey Heights. Hopefully we'll be able to get a replay of this. Drives along the grass and rejoins right into the side of one of the Gecko cars.
No, unfortunate for Van Loosenhoord, who's been so strong in the Pro Series. But here's Bakula entering his box, and can he get ahead of Alexei Jussi-Akola, his teammate, and Martin Kroenke as well? Ollie Bakula exits the pit lane, and I think he's just going to stay ahead. It's going to be incredibly close. No, he's comfortably ahead here of iWCGPS. So Ollie Pakula maintains his position ahead of his teammate, but Kroenke, more importantly, I mean, wow, he's lost a lot of time here, and I think as David de Korp enters the pit lane for the Orion Racing team, it's just, wow, you know, for Kroenke, it's been a struggle of a race. He's lost a lot of time as well. And I guess right now it's only head up from here. He's got a lot of laps remaining in this event.
Oh, absolutely. I do have to say that he's got a long way to go, and he's not having everything his own way this season, whereas he was getting podium after podium, being missed consistency. Everything's going out, and as we say that, race leader 66, Gregor Hutu, the champion, is in the pit lane right now, and he will come out in a world of his own. And well, it's Jeremy Boothloop now who will inherit race lead.
Yeah, Kazuki Umeshima behind, but he's a bit too far behind. So Hutu just behind Robin Friskops, that is. So Robin Friskops in P5. Hutu has a little bit of a clear track, not too much, but essentially he will lead this race. As Mitchell de Jong also pits as well. He feeds in just in front of Martin Kroenke. So de Jong from P2 here, Rachel, has fallen behind Pakula and iWCGPS for some reason. Both Coanda SimSport cars having incredibly poor pit stops. It's like the crews just didn't rectify their situation for Kroenke. Same thing happens to Mitchell de Jong here.
Yeah, absolutely. Mitchell de Jong not having a great time in pit road, so very problematic for the guys in Coanda.
I don't even know how that can happen. I mean, de Jong was comfortably in P2. Not too comfortable, but he really had it. And these late pit stops could kill them, Jake, because we've seen the DRS trains. We've seen the ERS as well. And if Kroenke couldn't make his way past Ollie Pakula, how is Mitchell de Jong supposed to make his way past two Team Redline cars?
Well, it's very difficult for him, even if he can manage to get his way past one. Right now, it is in your net race. It is a red line lockout at the podium at the moment. But Mitchell de Jong's got to fight, and he is a really big fighter. He might have lost just 2 seconds in the pit stop, but now he's got to focus and fight and make sure that he can get Pakula out of slipstream range so he can attack UC Ilkola.
So Jeremy Boothloop leads this race. He's led a couple of laps so far, and he's going to be searching for that pit box soon. It's lap 35 of 69. We've crossed 50% of the distance through. So Boothloop does lead by 4.7 seconds ahead of Paul Ulbrink, the two Radicals Online cars in P1 and 2. But our effective leader, Gregor Hutu, is currently in P3 for Team Redline, and Jake Sterios behind for Inex. They have had a bittersweet race. Very strong results for Sturgis and Price. But right now, I think for Yoni Tamala, he's really going to have to think about improving his consistency for next round. He wasn't the strongest driver last year, Rachel. Had a number of DNFs. I think the most DNFs, or the second most DNFs last year of the whole season.
Yeah, absolutely not a great series for him. But, of course, it's definitely going to be an interesting evolution to see what will come from this. Really not what we're used to seeing, and, of course, it's made a big change.
So Boothloop continues away as Gregor Hutu sets the fastest lap of the event, a 1 minute 8.745. The fuel decreases, Jake, different to last year in the Williams FW31. No refueling this year in the rulebook. Fresh tyres for Gregor Hutu, and that lap time incredibly quick. I mean, no other driver on the racetrack was even in the 1 minute 08. So Hutu's got at least 3/10 up on the whole field. I think he's not just walking away, but he's sprinting away with the win here if he can keep it together.
Gregor Hutu is romping towards what will be a very memorable win here at Phillip Island. He's doing everything right. He is closing up onto the back of Paul Ulbrink, who's in second place right now. And just look at the gap. It was 1.5 seconds, and now it's down to nothing in the space for the lap. Ulbrink comes in, and now Gregor Hutu can really release his inner drive because he's got clear air once again.
Yeah, so Paul Ulbrink pits for the Radicals Online team. Boothloop still leads for the same Radicals Online team, but Boothloop right now, we've seen a great resurgence of Jeremy Boothloop because the end of last year, much like Sebastian Job, Rachel, it seemed that Boothloop took a step ahead in terms of performance and skill, racecraft, everything in general. And I think for Radicals who need a driver like that on the team, Boothloop can really step ahead and lead this team. You know, you've got Umeshima as well, don't forget Paul Ulbrink, lots of other drivers, Moga Filio, who unfortunately today's had a poor race. He can be really strong on the right day.
Yeah, he certainly can, and the Radicals as a team have been somewhat overshadowed in the past by the likes of VRS, Chronos Sport and Team Redline, but they have a really potent team. As you said, Jeremy Bootloop is one of those guys. He is really good. He really is good, and given the right car, he could do a lot of great things. And of course, this car does seem to be suiting him a little better. He is finishing a lot further up the field at the moment, so these guys have to take advantage. They have to boost their own personal morale, realise they can get out there and win races. I mean, we've seen these guys running in endurance series. They are fast. They can beat Commander. They can beat Redline. Time to step up in this car and do the same thing. They are capable of it.
Well, Jeremy Bootloop, 24 years of age, and he's been sim racing since 2004 as Jake Sturgis enters the pit lane for the NX Racing team. So 12 years of sim racing, Jake, but he's only really been competitive about for 5-6 years now. In terms of development, evolving from those French feeder leagues, it's really important as a community that all these feeder leagues, you look at Finland as well, they've got an incredible amount. I know Australia as well for myself. Those types of areas, the communities around who help each other as drivers, they build character and they build skill for the likes of Jeremy Bootloop. And you see them out here on the world stage, the most competitive grid in the World Championship and in iRacing itself.
Oh, absolutely. And if he keeps on the train of path that he is at the moment, he can soon be a contender in, 1 year, 2 years? He continues on another lap, but Gregor Hutu behind him is absolutely storming. 109.8 last time by for Bootaloop, and well, Bootaloop does a 109.9. Gregor Hutu behind him does an absolutely sensational lap again, a 108.8. That's another second out of Jeremy Bootaloop, and it's just showing how much new tyres can affect you around a circuit like this.
Yeah, definitely so. So there's 30 laps left in this event, lap 39 of 69. So Bootaloop still leads. He's going incredibly long as he wraps around the Honda corner. He's missed the apex incredibly. Now 1 minute 9.9 last time around. 1.1 seconds slower than Gregor Hutu, currently in P2. So I guess, Rachel, if Bootloop doesn't pit this lap around, I assume he's waiting for Hutu to catch him. Once he's in about that 1.5 second range, Bootloop is going to enter the pit lane so he doesn't lose time letting Hutu past.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the safest option for him, realistically. He can't feasibly stay out, of course, on the racetrack, but Bootloop, of course, coming now towards the final corner, as Hutu is heading through, I believe, run up towards, well, the same. So, okay, he's about 4 seconds behind him at the moment, so we'll see that move done quite shortly.
Yeah, so Bootloop does continue, and I think, I'm not here to be pretentious or anything, but I feel like I might be right, because Bootloop is continuing away, even regardless of the fact that he is over a second slower a lap than really most of the field out there. So Sergio's out in the way. Fresh tyres for him. Sebastian Job from P33 on the grid is up into P14. Now we saw this with Michael Dinkel last round. Hutu was down the order as well. This is where Sebastian Job's pace comes into play. I'm not sure if you made a mistake in qualifying here, Jake, but imagine if Sebastian Job qualified well, he would have been right up there.
Oh, absolutely. He showed his pace at Interlagos with a second place finish and proved exactly why he is one of the brightest stars in this series at the moment, and he's caught right onto the back of the 11 car of Jake Sturgis as well, and he'll be looking to try and make that move sorted and try and get himself back up 20 positions up from his grid slot he started it today.
Yes, as Jeremy Bootloop finally enters the pit lane for the Radicals Online team, and very cautious on entry as well. 72 kilometers an hour on the pit limit. And he's searching for that box as well. So Jeremy Bootloop, he's maybe feed out down the order. I'm having a look at Graham Carroll in P8, 22 seconds away. So Jeremy Bootloop, this will be very interesting for him. Carroll's crossing the final corner now. Behind Carroll, it's Patrick Holtzman. Haven't spoken about him much today, but he's in the top 10. Good race from him. Jeremy Bootloop out and away. Could be side by side. Oh, Carroll swings past Jeremy Bootloop, the Frenchman. And I think he might just stay ahead of Patrick Holtzman. So Bootloop down there in P8. So finally, everybody really has pitted in the field. Yes, they have. So Jeremy Bootloop, the last driver to pit. And we look at the standings so far. Hutu here on lap 41 of the event leads by 11.5 seconds ahead of teammate Olli Pakala, who's ahead of teammate Alexei Usiakla in P3. It's a team red line 1-2-3 in this event for round 2. Mitchell de Jong in P4, Martin Kroenke P5. The two Commander SimSport cars Poor pit stop phase, very slow stop as well. And they've fallen down the order. Isaac Price for Inex Racing. He's trying to claim what Yoni Tomala could have had. He's currently in P6. Graham Carroll for Apex Racing UK. What an incredible job for Graham Carroll, the Pro Series winner. He's currently 2.9 seconds behind Isaac Price. 1.2 seconds behind him is Jeremy Bootley, who just exited the pit lane. They're rounding out the top 10. It's Patrick Holtzman and Paul Ulbrink. You can see the rest of the grid on your screen as well, or the rest of the standings, I should say, on your screen as well throughout the event. But Rachel, as we approach the closing stages here, this is where mental strength comes into play. It's so important in sim racing. I'm going to bring up Atsej Kirchhoff all the time. He speaks about breathing, and he speaks about composure. Right now, Sebastian Job, who's got the DRS and the ERS as well, he flicks it on at the end of the straight, I think, and he gets straight past Jake Sturgis for P13. But composure, Rachel, as we see with Sebastian Job, incredibly important for mental strength.
Yeah, it certainly is, and what a move from him, of course. This driver's a young guy, you know, he's 16 years old, and he's already shown a lot of maturity this season, and he's shown a lot more at the moment with the way he's picked his way past most of this field. He started 33rd. He's currently running in 13th. That's 20 positions gained. That's exactly what we saw from Gregor Houtu, the 5-time champion last time out at Interlagos when he came up from the back. This guy, he could feasibly end at the podium. It may be doubtable, but he can get into that top 10, I believe, for certain. He is incredibly good this season. What a talent. Definitely one I'm going to be tapping to win at some point.
Definitely so, but we will take a short little ad break here on lap 43 of the event. You're watching the 2016 iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series Round 2 from Phillip Island. Don't leave us. Welcome back to the 2016 iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. It's the Grand Prix of Phillip Island, round 2 of the 16-round season. Johnny Simon in the commentary booth alongside Rachel Whiteford and Jake Sperry as we close this race out. It is Gregor Houtu who leads by 12.1 seconds ahead of teammate Ollie Pakula, who's ahead of Alexei Usiakala by only 0.7 of a second. The 3 Team Redline drivers head those first 3 spots. And only 23 laps remaining in this event, Jake. It's up to composure, as we spoke about before the ad break. who's got the mental strength to finish this race off strong.
Oh, absolutely. I do have to agree with you there with these two red line guys being rear gunner to Gregor Hooter, who's gone off into the distance, said, see ya, I'm the new benchmark around here. Forget about Yorni Tamale, who had an incident earlier on in this event. And, well, it looks like VRS Coanda being the strongest challenge to Redline as we thought we'd see at the start of the season, but it just doesn't seem that they have enough right now. And they're going to be banking on mistakes, you'd have to think, if they're going to find a way past these guys ahead of them.
Yeah, Yalvaz right now is trying to find a way past Jorge Montañez, and he's got a great run here, the Orion Racing Team car. The Portuguese driver straight past Jorge Montañez, flicks on DRS, and he's straight through on lap 46 of the event. So wonderful stuff from Yalvaz, who won a lot of races in the Pro Series, Rachel, and you know, he's been strong, he's been great, but right now in the World Championship, not really where he'd want to be, fighting for these late positions down the order.
Yeah, it's unfortunate to be down there, but every little helps in a championship. Let's not forget that the top 25, I believe it is, at the end of the season, keep their World Championship license, and the rest have to go into the Pro Series and try and qualify again. So even if you're not in the fight for the championship, you still need every point you can get.
Well, definitely so. The three cars out of this race right now, two of them Apex Racing UK cars, Cam Stark and Martin van Loosenhoord. The other car, it's the NX Racing car. Round 1 winner, Yoni Tormelo, our championship leader coming into this round, is out of the event. If you're just joining us, don't forget, visit RaceSpotTV/timing for more information on our live timing as Bootloop makes his way straight past Apex Racing UK's Graham Carroll. And wonderful stuff there, Jake, from the Frenchman. And this is what we're talking about. He's improved a lot. He's on a run to maybe possibly a race win sometimes this year if he can keep his pace up.
Oh, well, he's going to have to really hope that he can find himself in a place where everything falls in his favour and the stars align for him. Brilliant move there into turn 1 against Graham Carroll, and now he'll try and set his eyes up on Isaac Price, who is the man on an island on his own, having to time trial his way through most of this race. And, well, if you're in that situation, Johnny, I have to think that Isaac Price will just be trying to concentrate that a little bit more, but maybe, just maybe, his concentration might be lacking a little bit compared to other drivers who are constantly having to battle.
Yeah, well, let's see. Well, I did speak to Isaac during the week on the Simon Racing Report podcast, and he had a lot to say about all the hard work the team put in, the fact that Yoni won the race, and he was a little bit frustrated to find, how is he lacking so far behind in terms of speed. But I guess he was a little bit hard on himself, Rachel, because he's still up here in P6 in this race, despite Preston and Tormela not being up there in the top 10, which they should have. Price still has some incredible pace. He's only 20 seconds behind the 5-time world champion Gregor Hooter. That's really impressive.
Yeah, it certainly is, of course, and well, to be in that sort of position around Gregor Hooter and seeing the points fight is a major advantage for these guys. But we've seen a definite sea change from round 1, where we have 3 redline cars ahead of 2 guys from VRS Coanda. But Isaac Price is there, Jim Bootloop's there, Graham Carroll's there, Patrick Holzman. We've got some big new names and some teams that haven't really been in the top 10 very often now getting regular top 10 points. This is awesome.
Yeah, you also look as well as... by the way, I should say something about Olli Pakula, because he stayed composed this whole race. And I think we've maybe we just haven't noticed it, Jake, because we always see Olli Pakula, who's so strong. Because we shouldn't forget that the top 5 in this event right now have all won a race in the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. Pakula, this race, has stayed so composed. And as well as the fact that, drivers down the order who come through into the World Championship, you merge all the great drivers, through a draft, through joining different teams, get their licenses. Some of these drivers who are in, 31st right now, the likes of Benjamin Lindsay, Michael Dinkel, in the average series with other amateur races, they dominate. Yet when they come to the World Championship, you put all these great drivers together in one series. This is what you get. You get competitive racing, you get tears, you get joy, everything. And it's great to see out here.
Oh, absolutely. And do remember, back at Interlagos last week, Olli Pakula finished 4th with a concussion. And that just shows how much dedication he has to this racing series and how much dedication he has to making sure Redline get the best finish possible. They're doing exactly what they need to right now. And, well, everything's going well. What's going on there, Johnny?
Peter Berryman right now giving a little tap to Marti Piatella here on the exit of turn 10, the hairpin, through turn 11 right now. Berryman's getting incredibly impatient, and I think it's such an aggressive driver. We've seen Peter Berryman through the ranks come up. He's got incredible racecraft, incredible aggression, but he can make the occasional mistake, and he really played with fire there, getting too close to Coanda SimSports' Marti Piatella. And right now, lap 50 of 69, there's plenty of laps to go, but this is where, Rachel, if you don't make the move early, you could be stuck in that DRS and ERS train.
Yeah, certainly, and of course, once you're around to the cars, you can't take any advantage because everyone gets the same speed boost, everyone gets the same recovery, so there's really no gains to be made, and all you end up doing is sitting in dirty air, trapped.
Peter Berryman is incredibly entertaining, and I'm surprised he's down here in P19, Jake, in that number 69 car, because Peter Berryman is a driver, at times he was faster than teammate Graham Carroll, who's currently in P8, so I guess he just needs to find his form in this McLaren MP430, but once again he gets incredibly close to Marty, and he's just too far behind. This is where turn 12, where you struggle for traction, cambered corner as well, Jake, which helps, but you see that Berryman clipping that curb on the inside. That's not a curb you want to touch. It's not a flat curb. You want to avoid it, and that's lost Peter Berryman about a tenth or two coming down the main straight.
Yeah, and it's a real shame, actually, because Berryman should be this guy who's fighting up for top 10s as Graham Carroll, his teammate, who you can argue is equal on pace to him, can do it. But right now he finds himself in the lower half of this top 20, fighting for 18th position, and it's just not where he wants to be. And, well, everything's going to be not perfect, but there you can see just trying to have a go there at the car ahead of him of Patella, who ran a little bit wide, but only just managed to stay behind there at that moment.
Yeah, Peter Berryman, and this is exactly what I said, needs to be extremely aggressive in the early stages of trying to make a move past the driver in front. Needs to play with his mind a little bit more. I think Berryman needs to start swerving. Has a look up the inside into turn 10. Oh, wonderful stuff. Loss of traction on the exit. He comes through turn 11 now. He clips that curb. You don't want to clip that curb, Peter. It's starting to lose you a couple of tenths because right behind it's team boss Alex Simpson for the Apex Racing UK team. He will cross the line and begin lap 52 as Berryman crosses that main straight, and he'll try to hit that apex of turn 1. Keep the rear end stabilized. Look at the grip on the racetrack as well. Jink right for turn 2. And as the track rises and dips, the beach to your right, you're concentrating on the tarmac in front of you. You go through Stoner corner, turn 3. Very simple corner. Accelerate, full throttle. Berryman going slightly defensive, I think. No, Alex Simpson's way too far behind. But Honda corner is difficult. You tend to lose the apex at times if you outbrake yourself. So search for your marker. Then through Siberia, turn 6. Wonderful stuff through Berryman. Look at the grip, the anti-roll bars coming into play on that Apex Racing UK car. Through turn 7 and turn 8. Only the bravest go side by side here. We saw it with Kroenke, I think, earlier in the race. Then Lukey Heights. Wow. Wonderful rise. And then dipping. Straighten the car early. Mash the brakes. Don't lock up, though. Keep the car stabilized. Turn 11 gets very tight. And as he gets the grip here, Rachel, on the run out of turn 11 through turn 12, once again cambered through the middle of the corner, it just seems like he can't make his way past Marti Piatella.
Yeah, absolutely, and part of that is that dirty air, Johnny, of course. The car's just not getting any front grip, and the air has been taken off, it's been chewed up and it's turned into basically turbulent air. And when the car's trying to get grip, of course, that's not hitting the front wing smoothly, so it's causing him to lose that front grip. The tyres are turning, but they aren't gripping because they haven't got as much weight pressing down on them. If you had infinite weight on a tyre, it could corner at any speed it wants to, but as soon as you take weight away from it, the lighter it is, the less it's actually affecting that. So that's why he can't really get the past it. It's just because he cannot get to the turn-in behind him to get the run off the corner.
You don't think he should eat less before the race? No, I'm joking.
No, he should eat more before the race. It increases downforce.
Oh, yeah, that's true, actually. You know what?
My pro tip for F1, you should all eat a steak dinner before every race, but way more, you'll have more grip.
Yeah, it's grip. Well, it's center of gravity as well. It lowers it, or I think it should. I'm not the best engineering mind right now. This is why I'm staying in the commentary booth. But Kazuki Umeshima, who's right behind Jake Sturgis here, Umashima's that aggressive driver you love, Jake, because when you get stuck in these DRS and ERS trains, as Sebastian Job sets the fastest lap of the event, a 1 minute 8.635 for Sebastian Job. He's got 2.7 seconds to make up on Patrick Holtzman in front. But Kazuki Mishima, Jake, is that driver who, you know, if he's in and stuck in a DRS and ERS train, you don't want to be in front of him because he will pounce and he is confident under braking.
Yeah, Kazuki Mishima is that driver who you just have a mutual respect for throughout the paddock. He's just this driver who, okay, may not be the guy who wins all of the time, but when you're battling with him, you show him a bit of respect because he is one of those drivers who can really stick it to basically anybody in the field given his day. But looking at Sebastian Job now, he's up 21 positions, passing his own teammate Antoine Higeland just a few laps ago, and now he's got to chase down Friskops, Holtzman and Ilbrink, who are the next train up ahead of him, but he's running out of laps.
Yeah, he definitely is. Lap 55 of 69 for the event as Gregor Hutu sets the fastest lap of the event with a 1 minute 8.592. He's led 47 laps here today. Jeremy Bootloop led the other 7 of the event, so incredible stuff. But Umeshima here off the racetrack for Kazuki Umeshima, and he picks it up. So, he's having to clear the dust off those tyres as well, Rachel. Unfortunate error for Kazuki Umeshima as we look at the replay.
Oh yeah, big mistake there for Kazuki Mishima. It's not what he wants to have happen at this stage, as that car was running really well. It's dropped down now, I believe, to P15, so not exactly a spectacular position for him.
I think actually, having a look at it, Sturgis had a huge moment into turn 1, and Umeshima just collected him. That was bizarre. So nothing Umeshima could do, but I think he's definitely suffering from a bit of damage now. Front end grip and damage could be... Oh, wow. So you look at Jake Sturgis at the back of his rear wing. He just lost the car into turn 1. Very abnormal there, Jake. And right now, Jake Sturgis is on the attack from Riley Preston on our timing screens. And I think Riley Preston's got his way past. So, I think Jake Sturgis, the DRS maybe, thinking about it, Jake, the DRS might have actually caused that issue for Jake Sturgis.
Well, it could be a problem. You lose so much rear downforce as you come into turn 1, and any form of not touching the brake, because the DRS will only switch off if you hit the brake. So maybe he was just lifting and coasting his way into turn number 1, forgetting the DRS was open, and that could have caused the incident. But right now he's lost out heavily to Riley Preston ahead of him, and Preston now will have to chase Higeland ahead of him, and then everything will still be going on with just these few laps remaining.
As you can see on your screen, Ilkka Haapala, huge moment under braking, keeps the car together. He's got Yuta Saito behind. Another driver you don't want to be in front of, because Yuta Saito will pounce. But he's trying to find his way past Alex Simpson. Hasn't been the best race, Rachel, for Ilkka Haapala. We've seen him much stronger than this before. But I guess for the Orion Racing team, they've signed Riley Preston. Yao Vaz has impressed as well. They're making steps ahead, and after losing Mitchell de Jong 12 months ago, ahead of the 2015 season, he went to Coanda Simsport. They're on the right track to really building that team back up.
Yeah, they certainly are, and of course, we've got a new car. We keep mentioning this, but it's still exciting, and whilst it's still newsworthy, we're going to mention it every 5 minutes. This car is very new. It gives new opportunities, it gives new options, more strategy for the teams. So you could find, if you are a little bit off that pace from some of the other drivers in the series, your team can really gain an advantage by having the right strategy at the right time and playing the race.
Yeah, right now, Alex Simpson made his way past Marti Piatella. Haapala also having a look here at Marti, who hasn't had the strongest of races. Could be a double whammy on the same lap as Simpson makes his way through. But Haapala cannot make his way past the Coanda Simsport driver, and he stays in P21 on the racetrack. Only 11 laps remaining in this event. Now we'll focus back onto the lead, hopefully, because you look at the timing screens. Yes, Hutu's leading by 12.5 seconds here, Jake, but the gap from Pakula to Alexei Usiaklo is only 6/10. Mitchell de Jong the same, and Martin Kroenke the same. It's a huge battle here for those final podium spots. And for Pride as well, after Coanda's poor pit stops, they do not want Rendline to finish 1, 2, 3.
And the fact that Ollie Pakula is setting up this really consistent pace in the high 1 minute 8, low 1 minute 9s, it's just being that factor which is just really pulling along. As you can see, de Jong trying to get close to Alexei Usiaklo, but you can just see how far Gregor Hutu's ahead. I think I've seen someone in the chat go, Ron Dennis, we need Hutu set up right now for a new car. So,
oh man, Well, McLaren need as much. Well, they've taken a step ahead. We'll speak about that another time. For now, though, with 10 laps to go, as Hutu crosses line, he does lead by 12.5 seconds. He's led 51 laps in this event. Incredibly impressive. And he's in the 1 minute 8.8 as well. I think he's faster than any other driver out on the racetrack. Olli Pakala in P2. 12.5 seconds, yes, behind Hutu, as I mentioned. He's only half a second in front of Alexei Usiakala, who's ahead of the two Coanda Simsport cars of Kroenke and De Jong, or De Jong and Kroenke, the other way around. The rest of the top 10, it's Isaac Price, Jeremy Bootloop, Graham Carroll, Paul Ulbrink, and Robin Friskops. You can see the rest of the standings on your screen as well at the top. Don't forget, you can still visit RaceSpot.tv/timing for our final laps of this event. View live timing. You can also visit RaceSpot.tv, the website. Lots of information there for future broadcasts as well as this event on RaceSpot TV. Stream live on iRacingLive. Sebastian Job right now is, I think he's incredible battle here. Jake is through right past Robin Friskops for P10.
Well, for P11 actually, but what a brilliant move there that was from Sebastian Job. He is giving everything in this car, and he is still not willing to give up on a top 10 finish. He's done it brilliantly down past Holtzman into Honda, and now he'll be looking to try and keep that pressure up as he looks to try and close in on Friskops, looks to try and close in on Ulbrich. But the fact that he won't have the slipstream, he's got 3 seconds to chase down in 10 laps. Well, it's a difficult challenge, but the way he caught Holtzman, I think he can do it with Friskops and Ulbrich as well.
Yeah, let's see how he manages his ERS come the end of this event. He's going to just use all of it as much as he can, Rachel, because there's not that much time remaining, and he's 6/10 faster than Robin Friskops last lap around, so Job can certainly do this. Started P33, currently in P11. The young man Sebastian Job, one of the youngest drivers on this grid, could certainly make his way past here. Only 15 years of age. He's really impressing.
Yeah, Johnny, this is super impressive work from him as, we're coming down to just under 10 to go now, and what a performance today from Sebastian Job. He's moved up over 2/3 of the grid, 33rd to 11th, and he's catching P10. He can get a top 10 result from the back of the field at Phillip Island of all racetracks, Johnny. If people say you cannot pass in Formula 1 or that we have DRS trains, all we need to do is point at drivers like Sebastian Job. He has come from the back. He has climbed 22 positions at the moment. 22. At a track that's difficult to pass at, in cars that apparently can't pass. The Sebastian Job clearly doing something right here, as he is now in visual range of Robin Friskops.
Yeah, this track really is designed for... It's like a perfect circuit for motorbikes. I can see why MotoGP come here almost every year right now, because, I mean, it's just a beautiful racetrack. Beach to the right as well. I've been to this a few times. I only live about 2 hours away, 2-3 hour drive away from Phillip Island, only half an hour away from Albert Park. So 2 tracks I've seen quite a lot as well throughout my lifetime as Preston. Now, if you're wondering about Australian Riley Preston, who was caught up, unfortunately, with that incident with round 1 winner Yoni Tamala, none of Riley Preston's fault. He is in P14, trying to make his way up into the top 13. Now, I throw this dilemma into you, Rachel. Olli Pakala in P2. I have a feeling that if he could break away from Alexei, he wouldn't want to. He'd want Alexei to keep that DRS. He knows that Usiakala is not going to try and pass Pakala come the end of this race. Why don't they work together and keep those 2 Coanda Simsport cars behind?
Yeah, absolutely, of course. It's going to be a job for them to keep the Coanda cars behind. Now, of course, they could possibly do it, but, Johnny.
Yeah, Riley Preston straight past Anton Higlin as I said that. So, excuse me for cutting you off there, Rachel, but Riley Preston up into P13, and he's revitalized his race only a little bit. And the Orion Racing team having a little bit of pride here to finish this race off. They could have been right up there in the top 5. But as we focus back on that top 5, Rachel, yeah, as I said, it could be an interesting dilemma for the Red Line team. They do not want to fight and cost themselves a potential 1-2-3 finish. After, I mean, what a way to finish round 2 as well. After that shambles in round 1, all 3 cars coming together at turn 1, lap 1. Now you could finish this race in 1, 2, and 3, sweep the podium.
Well, to finish first, to finish on the podium, apparently you all have to be finished, because we are looking at an all-finished podium at the moment, which is quite the achievement at the moment. But Well, Ollie Pakala and Lexi Usiakola are right in the clutches now of De Jong and Kroenke. Those two guys from VRS Coanda are dogfighters, so we could be looking at 6 laps of carnage here as we see some movement going on as one of the Coanda cars getting out of the way. I say lap down car of, I believe that was
Andrew
Borcher it was. He's clearing out of the way very quickly for his teammate. It says they go on the attack now, looking for podium finishes.
God, we haven't spoken about Andre Borcher. He's having a horrid race down in P30, and we've seen much better results from Andre Borcher. Hopefully he refines his form and his good results from last year. He's definitely a top 10 driver in terms of finishing and potential. We saw Andre Borcher in the championship as well last year, Jake. I mean, he did finish 7th in the championship. Really the only person who isn't a race winner last year. It was the highest up, if that makes any sense. That doesn't make any sense. My point is, in the end, Borcher really needs to refine his form here.
Well, he does. He didn't find a podium last season. I think he was up fighting around the likes of Hugo Lloris. And, well, everything going on right now, he's a lap down and he really didn't want to be. And he's just got to go and find something within himself, really, if he wants to come back and be this guy who can challenge these top 5s. We know his pace. We know he's as quick as De Jong and Kroenke and Hugo Lloris. He just needs to go out and prove himself once again, because at the moment it just doesn't seem to be working.
Yep, only 5 laps remaining in this event, so lap 64 of 69 when Hutu crosses the line, and he's got a 13-second lead. Should be lights to flag. That's a car off the racetrack, and they're rejoining as well. Not sure who that is. It might actually Benjamin Lindsay down in the last position, so horrid race for him. But a big shout out to iRacing with another successful round of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. Big thanks to Anwern Design for our graphics packages, our sponsor as well. Istvan Belov for his beautiful track camera work. Incredible shots here today, as you can see on the broadcast. And of course, thanks to VRS Coanda SimSport, who have helped us and will help us throughout the 2016 season in the RaceSpotTV commentary booth and behind the scenes too, as Hutu does lead by 12.7 seconds. Now, Rachel, it's very scary when Hutu starts winning the early races in the championship, because I'm stealing a quote from you yourself. You always say he needs to build his way into this series. He already has in round 2.
Yeah, certainly, and this is really what he needs to do to get back on the game. Of course, his recovery drive last week was huge, so it's not been a terrible start to the season. Terrible start to round 1, surely, but not to the start of the season, as yeah, he's looking set now for a victory. 12 seconds clear of teammate Ollie Pakala. Really no chance of anyone catching him unless there's a mistake, which we don't think is going to happen. He doesn't do mistakes. It's Gregor Hutu. Well, we said that before last week, so who knows. But at the moment, it's looking pretty secure. His teammates, not so much. They're playing tailgunner at the moment.
We're looking at Riley Preston now, the Australian, at his home event. Had that incident with Joni Tomala earlier on in the event. Now the Orion Racing Team driver is trying to make his way past Patrick Holtzman, who, good to see Patrick Holtzman finishing a race cleanly. Not in many incidents. Now, he would have loved to be a lot higher here, Jake. But I guess for Patrick, finishing a race is really the main key for him. A lot of DNFs last year, a lot of mistakes. Great race from Patrick Holtzman as they round the final corner. Preston has a great run here. He'll flick on the DRS as he crosses the zone. Makes his way straight past the Movano racing car. And Riley Preston up into P12, revitalising his race. And next on his list is Sebastian Job, which will be a tough pass for the Australian.
Oh, absolutely. It looked there like Holtzman didn't have enough ERS in his car. He just completely bogged down that straight, completely lost absolutely everything. And something going on with Graham Carroll, if I can find that one for you. Johnny, what's going on with Graham Carroll?
Oh, Friskops with an incredible overtake into the Honda corner, and he makes his way straight past Graham Carroll for P9. So Carroll now could be under attack from his teammate Sebastian Job. And Sebastian Job's 2.4 seconds behind, only a few more laps remaining in this event. So what a move from Robert Friskops, one of the moves of the day. And he claims that 9th position. He could also pass Paul Ulbrich with a great run here. So hopefully Robin Friskops coming out of the final corner. And I don't know why, a few drivers I spoke to before the race said they'd struggle here on the exit of turn 12. But I really think the cambered corner helps in terms of building that setup. But Friskops, he's 4/10 slower than Ulbrich while making that pass as well. So Sebastian Job's only 1.8 seconds behind Graham Carroll. Could be a huge double whammy in a couple of laps here, Rachel. And I guess Sebastian Job just has to keep his composure because his teammate is in front. Is he going to make a move? Who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be great to see if they can catch each other at the moment, but that's going to be a real telling story, watching teammates fighting teammates, but it does seem as though Graham Carroll is really dropping off quickly. The timing's actually gone from him being ahead of Robin Fiscops. He's lost 2 seconds in that lap, so problems for Graham Carroll. Is he having to save fuel very aggressively?
Yeah, it could be ERS management as well. I feel like some drivers haven't managed the ERS left in that car. Once you reach about 20% left, there's just not enough power as you come out of the corners and you can't defend on the straights. Some drivers losing about 20-30 kilometers an hour on the straights. It's incredible. I think Marti Piatella being one of them. But one of those drivers who has managed his DRS well, Jake, is Gregor Hutu. Fastest lap of the event with 2 laps remaining. A 1 minute 8.510. Incredible time. And this is why he's a 5-time world champion.
Oh yes, and Jobs just gone through on Graham Carroll. What a move. The overspeed was insane. What a move from Sebastian Job. He puts himself in the top 10, but Gregor Hutu is on his own, out ahead, out away, fastest lap after fastest lap. You can't touch him. You cannot touch him. And it just seems that there is a 10-foot barge pole between him and anybody else in the rest of this field right now. He's showing dominance.
Yeah, Carroll right now is either suffering with his ERS is just depleted, or he's struggling for fuel. The same way we saw, I think it was Olli Pakala last round with a dragging side pod from that incident in the early laps of the event, as well as fuel management. So as Hutu begins the final lap of the event, Rachel, more importantly, Pakala and Usiakala have broken away from the Quanta Simsport driver. Both De Jong and Kroenke are over a second behind the 2 red line drivers now.
Yeah, they've also probably had to save a little bit here because everyone's been pushing pretty hard, so I think this is definitely a fuel issue perhaps, or like you say, it could be the ERS, but they've definitely dropped off a huge amount, as did Carroll, so some drivers pushing a little too hard in this race, it seems. We've had numerous cars dropping back, Johnny.
But for Gregor Hutu right now, he rounds towards the final few corners on the racetrack, past Lukey Heights, through the turn 10 hairpin, now through turn 11. It's taken 2 rounds to get back onto the top step of the podium, but Hutu, as he rounds that final corner, keeps the car together. He will cross the line and win his first race of the 2016 season. Gregor Hutu wins for Team Redline, round 2 of the championship. Olli Pakala, we wait for him to cross the line in second. He comes through now, and Pakala will come home, makes the red line 1-2. But don't forget, Alexei Usiakala crosses the line. It's a team red line 1-2-3 as Hutu, Pakala, and Usiakala sweep the podium. Mitchell de Jong and Martin Kroenke come home in P4 and 5. A disappointing result for them. They could have potentially been up there for those final few podium positions. Isaac Price, what a result from the NX Racing car. P6 for Isaac Price. Great start to the season. Jeremy Bootloop for Radicals in P7. Then Paul Ulbrink, Robin Frisco, Sebastian Job across the line as Graham Carroll is slow.
Incredibly slow. He's being passed by other cars. I think it's fuel. I'm listening to his car. He's definitely running out of fuel.
Yeah, so that's why he was passed so easily. There we go. Berryman passed as well. Oh, there we go. Carroll crosses the line and he parks his Apex Racing UK car. Berryman, I think, unofficially crosses the line in 16th. Oh, wow. He could have ended up with a top 10 result had it not been for his fuel issue. The same, similar to Olli Pakala last round. But Gregor Hutu wins here, Rachel. What a win for the Finn. Incredible stuff here. And he wins his first race of the season. Win number, and I'll get this up, win number 53 on the career list.
Yeah, absolutely incredible result for Gregor Hutu. Not that we expect any less from the Flying Finn himself. An amazing performance, but, you know, we can't really get too excited because we are so used to this. It's great to see him back in victory lane, but at the same time, it's where we do expect to see him. So, another race, another Gregor Hutu win, and, well, some last lap drama.
Yeah, now we always have it in the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, where we look at the final results for the race. It is Gregor Hutu who takes the win. An incredible win for Gregor Hutu. Win number 53 on the all-time list. Olli Pakala comes home in second, and teammate Alexei Usiakala comes home in third. The team red line 1-2-3. 2-3. A clean sweep of the podium. What a way to bounce back after a poor first round at Interlagos. Mitchell de Jong and Martin Kroenke head home in P4 and 5. Poor pit stops for them really summed up their race. They had incredible potential and speed. Good thing for them, they've rectified their issues from last round. Isaac Price in 6th. Great result for him. Then it's Jeremy Bootloop, Paul Ilbrink, Robin Friskops, and finally Sebastian Job from 33rd on the grid comes home in the 10th position. Riley Preston in 11th after that incident with Joni Tomala. Patrick Holtzman, good to see him finishing a race cleanly in P12. The rest of the drivers on your screen. Big names as well. Alex Simpson, team boss for Apex Racing UK. Not a strong round for him. All the way down in P20. Marti Piatella only 0.1 of a second ahead of Dion Burgess across the line. And then you'll see down the list as well. A few DNFs for you. Benjamin Lindsay, David Korps, Cam Stark, Martin Van Loosenord, and finally Joni Tomala. For now, that's the race all but wrapped up. Join us for post-race coverage next. You're watching the 2016 iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series live on RaceSpotTV, streaming live on iRacingLive. Post-race coverage for round 2 of 16 for the 2016 iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series on RaceSpotTV, streaming live on iRacingLive. Now, what a race we've had here, Jake. I mean, to look at Hutu dominating, winning by 15 seconds, it was the same, Joni did that last time around, but we'll speak to Gregor soon, and I guess it must have just been a pretty simple race for him from P1, finishes in P1 as well, and fastest lap of the race. Not a grand slam, but a hat trick.
Well, almost a perfect race by his perspective, and you have to think with looking at last season where once he got one on the board he took 8 in 10 races. That's how good he can be once he gets the ball rolling. This is a really worrying sign for anybody else who is going to be watching this one very carefully. Got to look out here because VRS Coanda will be looking to work in the next 2 weeks.
Definitely so, and we'll speak to race winner Gregor Hutu. And Gregor, right now, an incredible race win, coming home in P1, dominant, 15 seconds. It must have been a very simple race for you, but I guess a different story in the cockpit is you really must have kept your composure, and you must have, keep cool and calm in the cockpit, because any mistake, and you would have, fallen down the order and fallen down the field.
Yeah, thanks. That was pretty much, like you said, a simple race in a way, where everything went to plan. But it's always easy to make a mistake with this car, especially. So yeah, I had to keep up the concentration. And but no, I mean, great job by the whole team as well. So it was great to see Olli and Alexi up there as well.
You talk about pace, and to bounce back from round 1, you guys at Redline knew you had the pace. You knew you were the fastest team. But to stay calm and stay together after that, all three cars having an accident at turn 1, it must have been the perfect way to wrap up round 2 for you here. And I guess for the rest of the season, does this keep motivation high for all of you?
Yeah, I don't know if we were confident about our pace before the race, but yeah, definitely nice after, especially the first race, what happened there in turn 1. It's nice to get this result for the whole team. So yeah, definitely gives us some confidence for the next races.
Finally, save all your sponsors, your thank yous, and any thank yous in Finnish as well if you need to.
Just would like to say thanks to Fanatec and OKO, and see you in 2 weeks.
There you go, Rachel. Gregor Hutu, who claims this win so easily. You're alongside Olli Pakala, who I believe did come home in P2 this race. And for Olli, I mean, an incredible race, Rachel, as you speak to him now.
I didn't know somebody could say something 3 times in a row, but thank you, Johnny. I am here with Olli Pakala. Olli, race day, you come home second step on the podium, but it wasn't always that easy, of course. You did gain hugely from the fighting that happened between the guys from Coanda, and of course the racing we had on track with Joni Tomala, and of course the driver that came home finally recovering in P number 11, Riley Preston.
Yeah, it wasn't easier race for me, definitely. I don't know why it is, but I've always 2-3 tenths behind everybody in the Phillip Island, so I was struggling with the pace from the very start with the preparation. But I wish I could show you how sweaty I am. It was quite a lot of defending there.
That's quite an offer, Olli.
Yes.
But in terms of the race today, of course, you did come home in second, and despite you saying you're off the pace here, you suffer at this track. We did notice a number of cars having issues with tyres throughout the race. Just how much of an impact was it towards the end of the race with fuel and the ERS recovery? Were you all running out of actual ERS energy stores? We did notice the Coanda guys dropped off the back of you and your teammate Alexei in those last few laps.
Yeah, well, the ERS usage wasn't that big of an issue. Obviously, it wasn't that great as well. But yeah, it was like every lap you had to think that, do I have enough fuel? Do I have enough ERS? And how's my tires? And then usually I might lock in the hairpin few times, then I know that okay, now it's not going well. And then yeah, I have few checkpoints with the DRS that I know that okay, this lap I can go a bit more differently fixed mode, and that lap I can do that fixed mode. But it's like balancing the car every place all the time, so it's quite tense.
As Fernando Alonso once said, you drivers have become pilots with these cars and new advanced systems. And well, congratulations on coming home in P2, Olli. Thank you for joining us, and we'll head back to Johnny in the booth.
Yeah, I think Jake Sperry's sitting alongside Alexei Usiakala, who rounded out the podium and completed this race. A 1-2-3 finish for Team Redline, Jake.
Yes, Alexei, perfect result, exactly what the team would have wanted. Wasn't really the best qualifying for you, down in 8th position. Talk us through your start then, because it seemed to me that you were maybe blocked a little bit off the very beginning.
Well, yeah, qualifying was hard. I didn't practice enough, so yeah, luckily I got top 10 qualifying, so everything was open for the race still, and everybody have had a good race pace, so you just had to try some different pit strategy, so everything went better than expected, but start was pretty good. Yeah, I got a good launch, but there was no room to make it 3 wide, so had to back it off.
Yes, of course, and just talk us through what happened about midway through your opening stint and up towards pit stops, because it must have been really scary for you. You're running in about 5th position, and then you see the likes of Joni Tormala and then Riley Preston ahead of that come together down Lukey Heights into turn number 10. Just describe what was going through your head there, because it seemed that you got a real big benefit out of all of that going on.
Yeah, actually, I just saved fuel and tires on the first stint because I knew that there's no such possibility to overtake so many cars because everybody are so close to each other, so everybody had DRS. So basically I just stayed on the DRS range, and then yeah, actually it was kind of nice to see those guys crash, so luck for me for today. Last week it was not that great.
I see, but Sebring in 2 weeks' time, where do you think the team's heading right now? Of course, with a 1-2-3, you can't get any better than that. Do you think that you can maintain all your momentum going into the next series of events, or are you looking behind your shoulder at the likes of Coanda and Inex?
Well, I think we can make the result better. Just change the order. Yeah, but yeah, Coanda and Inex are really strong, and Sebastian Job, he's really fast. I think he could have won today with good qualifying. So yeah, lot of strong drivers, Patrick Holtzman also. So yeah, it's gonna be a pretty exciting season.
Thank you, Oleski, for everything there to do with that. Johnny, well, it's been a fantastic race today, and I have to say, if this continued standard keeps going up, we're in for a cracking season.
Yeah, definitely so. And I guess Coanda, after those poor pit stops, in which they'll try to find out what happened wrong there, they really need to rectify that situation, because they could have been up there in the podium positions, but they couldn't find a way past. You talk about DRS trains, ERS trains coming into play, and I guess in the end, a question to you, Rachel, is can Redline sustain this for the whole season? Because they can, but at the same time, Coanda have a lot of room to improve. Who knows if Inex are going to keep dropping off the pace, or are they going to maintain the same pace? It's an interesting thing, and all we can do is guess and prosper.
Absolutely, of course, and Inex, of course, have had some issues in the past, but I think they're in a good, strong position here. They clearly have the right setups for cars. The drivers are good enough to race with the big guys, so it's just a matter of whether they can actually keep the pace going. I think they can. I think this is a good season for them to be perhaps the third team this year. They've had the speed for it, and I think they deserve it. Coanda and need to do a lot of work. Their cars still aren't great, but definitely some more management issues that caught a number of teams in this race. That's what we have to keep our eyes on.
A few interesting things to note this race, Jake, is Sebastian Job from 33rd on the grid into the top 10. Now, he's still right up there in the championship, in the top 10 after his podium at Interlagos. It's only a matter of time for this 15-year-old to maybe win a race sometime this season, but there's only a few little problems here. He's got Gregor Hutu in front.
Well, yeah, Gregor Hutu's a 5-time champion. He's been in the business longer than probably quite a few people, and to be perfectly honest, there's no doubting what Gregor Hutu can do. And you have to say Sebastian Job is kind of more of an unknown talent in terms to Gregor Hutu. But with that performance that he showed today, I mean, we were talking even last season that last season could be his breakthrough year. And yes, we did see him score a couple of third places in qualifying. But now he's shown what he can do from the back of the grid to the front. He was methodical, precise, engineering all his greatness into every single overtake that he tried to do. I think we're seeing a future champion here, and there's no doubts about it. Sebastian Job is one of the quickest guys in the field, and he's looking to prove it, and he'll prove it again at Sebring in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, the assets that Apex Racing UK have on that team. Imagine if trades were involved in the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, Rachel. You could trade a few of these assets for maybe Gregor Hutu or Pakala or someone. I doubt Redline will want to give up those drivers, though. They're incredibly strong here in their Motorsport Prime as well. Finally, I'm going to say, Sebring in 2 weeks' time, you've got a racetrack that's mostly known for its touring car racing, and last year was a very hectic race where we saw Mitchell de Jong take the win. This is, and 2 weeks now. It's different to round 1 and round 2. We only had a 1 week break. No more back-to-back. We've got a 2 week break. The likes of maybe Coanda rectifying their issues a little bit more. Who knows if Apex and Radicals can also fight their way up through the field. It's good now to get that break and identify what were your issues in these first few rounds.
Yeah, certainly. And these are the few rounds that will be the testing environment, the ability for drivers and teams to make those decisions and find out what works. Again, it's a huge new environment because we are changing car. So it's open season. If you can win, you can win. Time for those guys who've not had a chance yet to step up and show the world what they can do. Show the big teams what they can do. Let's make some stars this year.
Definitely so. The next race will be on the 19th of March, in 2 weeks' time. That will be at Sebring International Raceway for round 3 of the 2016 iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series on RaceSpotTV, streamed live on iRacingLive. Thanks to all the viewers out here today. Thanks to Rachel Whiteford alongside me and Jake Sperry. This has been a RaceSpotTV presentation broadcasted on iRacingLive. Thanks as well to iRacing and One Design, Istvan Belot, and of course VRS Co-Anderson Sport, our sponsors. For now, we'll say so long and see you in 2 weeks' time.